special good evening to you. But I want to take the opportunity first to extend condolences on behalf of two persons. That is the family of Muriel Joseph in Girodel, who passed away. She's a person I worked with in the credit union movement when I was a cooperative officer. We were very close friends in Girodel, and she was also a board member of the Girodel cooperative shop. So we worked together, and I see just recently one was founder was buried. That is Mr. I can't see how his name are coming on. So, but now we're burying Muriel Joseph. F. Albert Benjamin was buried just last week. And know how Muriel and these people worked very hard in the cooperative movement in Girodel.
Okay.
And so my condolences to the family and friends of Muriel Joseph, and then to our own Vanus John Charles.
Yes.
The family of Vanus John Charles in St. Joseph, who passed away. Teacher Vina, special condolences to you. Vanus John Charles had a good role to play in Labour Party winning that seat in 2000. Vanus John Charles, Jeff Joseph, Teacher Vina, our ambassador in China, and a number of persons played a major role in bringing victory, giving Vincent Desson victory over then Doreen Paul in the St. Joseph constituency. And ever since Vanus died with his boots on in the Labour Party. So condolences to him and to the people of St. Joseph, and especially to the banana fraternity where he made his contribution as a banana farmer. So may his soul, or may their soul rest in eternal peace.
Indeed. Yes, Carissa.
Yeah, good night. Good night, Simeon. Good night, Clarence. Good night to the listening public. It's another big night tonight, another big Saturday night. Of course, I wanted to take the opportunity to big up the people of Margaret and Concord, the lovely people of Margaret and Concord, and of course our entire Labour family who I know join in at this time. I wanted to say a big up to our political leader and Prime Minister who are going to be joining us soon. Of course, big up to the LYO, Simeon. The LYO did some great things today.
Yeah, I saw that. They were actually doing some.
They had a major project at the in the east. Of course, we were able to paint a gentleman's house, David Joseph, in Delhi's up there. Very, very big showing. Good spirit, nice energy, and so on. So I really want to big up the LYO National Executive on doing that project. Of course, tonight I'm just looking forward to our discussions tonight, Simeon.
Yes, indeed.
And let's see what happens from there.
Well, thank you again, Carissa. It's always a pleasure having you as well as Clarence. Of course, we're always there keeping the vibes flowing when I am not present. But I want to show, of course, tonight it's already 8:15, and I want to take a few of your calls. Of course, I'll give you a chance to just shout us out, let us know where you are joining us tonight before we... of course, introduce our discussion, because tonight we'll be doing quite a few days. Let's see who is on the telephone there already. Caller, good evening to you on the local line. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Simeon.
Hi, good evening.
Yes,
go ahead. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Clarence.
Good evening. Good
evening.
evening.
And Mr. Carissa. Good evening to you all.
Yes, good evening. Good evening. Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
I would like to say good evening to Mr. Ian Monroe in Bellevue, chauffeur, Miss Sonia Felix, Rosona, Miss Danielle in Portsmouth, Clayford, Tony in Guada, Mama Redif, Mr. and Mrs. Guada, Mrs. Leslie in Pebush, Ma Millicent in Bioche, Simon in Sultan, Doris in Park Hall, Bernadette in Bellevue, chauffeur. Good night to you, Bernadette. Long time to see. Yes. And good night to every Labour right that didn't hear their names. I'm okay, and I wish you all a happy weekend. Good evening to all of you.
Indeed. Thank you for touching base here with us, of course, from the Qualio constituency. You can ring us on 4487-338. I notice most of you have that number locked in already. Caller, good evening to you on the local line.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. God bless, yes.
I call from Tibo, right?
Uh-huh.
And then your first talker. Wow, I don't know open the program. And you don't see Tibo on the map.
Well, you see, that's why you have to call me, because when I miss a community, I expect you to call me and tell me where you're calling me from. So you have to call and you have to say, I'm calling from Tibo. Big up to Tibo.
Yeah, because when every time
I not calling a map, I just shouting out on random some of the communities, but I expect the callers. That's why I expect you to call. And I said I was opening up the line so you all could call and say where you were calling from so we could know where he's listening. So I'm happy that Tibo is listening. I want to thank you for calling from Tibo. That's why when I shout out the Vekas constituency, I know Tibo is part of that, isn't it?
Yeah. But
exactly.
When you call Penville and you call Vekas and you call Tibo, we feeling bad.
All right. Okay, sir. Hands up.
and I hope my PM is listening. You'll be on the program tonight?
Yes, he will be coming on with us very shortly this evening there. Yes.
Yeah, and I want you all to touch some very important point.
It did.
Okay, that's Tamanak and Tibo.
All right, big up there. Yes, I. All right, there. Big up to all the folks there in Tibo there. That's one of the things when I shouting out the names. I don't have a schedule map in front of me, so I just shout out. Let me know where you're calling from, though. I call a good evening to you.
Good evening, my son.
Good evening, ma'am.
And welcome back. Boy, your voice sounding so sweet. God is in control.
All the time.
And continue to trust him.
All the time.
Let him lay his healing hands upon you. Take no stress.
Indeed.
Do not worry over the things of this world.
That's right.
Okay?
Did, ma'am.
Just look up to heaven and let the Lord cover you with his precious blood.
Will do.
And your family.
Will do.
So who is with you tonight?
Well, Mr. Christian is there and Carissa is there, and we, of course, in a while will bring on the PM.
The Carissa is already there. Good night, Carissa.
Hi, good night, Mommy. Good night.
You okay, my boy?
Oh, I'm doing fine, thank you.
Keep on holding on, my son. God bless you. And whoever else are there again, Simeon?
Mr. Christian, ma'am.
Oh, Mr. Christian, everything good?
I good. Good night, Bobby.
Good night. The good Lord is walking with you.
All right.
He guiding and protecting you. Continue to pray.
Okay. Just
and
now we will.
God continue blessing.
All right. In a while we will have your son with us.
Oh, my goodness. Wonderful. So I say good evening also to Crazy T. I wish him God continued blessing upon him and let him keep on holding on to the unchanging hands of Jesus. He's the greatest physician, the greatest healer. Let him trust him.
Indeed.
And everything will be okay.
All right, bro.
And my Prime Minister, oh my goodness, wherever you are, my son, I claim that precious blood of the Lamb of God from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet. But I have a lot of things to say, but I will call back later.
Do that after.
And God bless all of you.
Bless you, Mommy.
Continue the work you all are doing, not only for all you, but for the Lord.
Indeed.
And for his country and his people.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
The blessing of the Lord be with you all.
Bless you too, Mommy. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your call there. All right, there. It's already 20 minutes, of course. I'm going to take a couple of your calls again, and then we're going to get into the discussion there. Caller, good evening to you.
Hi, good evening.
Hi,
welcome back.
Hi, thank you, my dear.
And good night to the other panelists. I am calling from Bells. I noticed you didn't call us too. So you which come Bell, you which come call you don't call Bells.
Well, thank you for calling from Bells.
From Bells.
Yes.
Okay, good night.
All right, take care there. Yeah, man.
Bells is in the St. Joseph constituency.
Yeah, well, you see, when I say but I know, the people like to hear their Hamlet.
Yeah.
I call a good evening to you. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Simeon.
Hello.
And good evening to Mr. Carissa and Mr. Christian.
Good evening to you, ma'am. Good evening to you. Good evening.
Yes. How are you all doing?
We okay.
Fine, thanks.
Okay, well,
Energize.
I am listening. I'm telling. Good evening. Greetings to my Honorable Prime Minister. Oh, that's a 1 in a million. And I just want him to know that I just finished iron my uniform for work on Monday.
Yes, I. All right. Yes, I. Take it easy there. Just finish iron your clothes. I tell you, boy. Yeah, man. Big up to that there. Let's go right back to the telephone there. The telephones are very busy there. Caller, good evening to you.
Good evening, Simeon.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, Carissa and all the
Good
others.
evening.
This is Marigot calling. I'm getting ready to go to work on Monday.
Yes, I. Yeah, all right there.
Right.
Yes, I.
Right.
All right there. Big up to Marigot. You hear that Marigot gets it ready to go to work on Monday. What is today? Friday. And Marigot already gets it ready to go to work, PC. Caller, good evening to you on the local line there.
Hi, good evening, Roosevelt Central.
Yes, I.
And we are already in a working mood. Do not interrupt that mood. We in a working mood.
Yes,
Please do not interrupt.
Don't
Hi,
interrupt.
good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, good
Mr.
evening.
Christian and Caressa. Greg, how you doing?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
How is Marigot? How is Chinese and the others?
Oh, everybody is so far
Everybody
so
is
good.
good.
Just preparing your clothes for work on Monday.
Oh, yes, we're in a working mood, you know.
Yes, I.
Please do not interrupt.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
And for me to ready,
Yes, I.
I'm dressing all in red.
Big up.
And do not interrupt
That mood.
that mood. Because I have my baseball bat if anyone interferes.
Hold that mood. Yes, I.
Okay.
All right.
Simeon,
Yes, dear.
it warms my heart to hear your voice.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh, it warms my heart. I wish you all the best.
Yes, yes.
And I'm listening to you. My PM and Mr. Laville.
Yes.
Did you say Mr. Laville is coming on?
PM is coming on with us in a
Oh,
moment.
PM.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes, yes.
God bless my PM.
Yeah, indeed.
Good night, PM. Good night. Love you. I love you, PM.
All right.
Yeah, and we're in the working mood.
Yes, I.
We're not going to
Rub
interrupt
that
it on
mood.
Monday.
Yes, I.
Okay,
all right.
So I'm listening. I'll be good for sure.
Yes, I. Yes, I. Yes, I.
Okay, man.
Okay, take care there. Yeah, man. You hear that? People, Dominica is in a working mood. You know, only lazy ones are not in a working mood. I'll play a little thing there. Yeah, a little thing set up there. Let me take that call before I go to that. Caller, good evening to you on the local line. Good evening.
Good evening. Roosevelt.
Yes, I. Big up.
Yeah, man. Anyway, Caressa, that is my king. That's not the king that winning all the crown and do want to educate himself. Whole song, Caressa. Whole song, Mr. Clarence.
Yes, I.
Good night.
Yeah,
Good night.
listening and waiting for my Prime Minister.
Yeah, my boy. That's the idea. Yes, I. All right, there. He listening and he waiting for his Prime Minister. The telephones just keep ringing there. Caller, good evening to you on the local line.
I call that my son.
Brief, mommy.
Yes, I know. What is that working for Tuesday, no work on Monday? What is the reason for that?
We'll be having a discussion on that, so you'll call us a little later and we'll have more talk on that, mommy. Right
okay,
now, we
I
just...
have my red dress, my red shoe, and my red thing, and I outside there.
All right, mommy, take care there. Yes, I.
Right.
I'll be ready for the discussion. All right, there. It's 25 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock there. Yes,
Simeon, while we go, let us touch up on our Facebook listeners.
Yes, indeed, I get into that.
Facebook is blazing.
I know. I come into the Facebook, but just give me the telephone. Let's take the calls. Caller, good evening to you.
Good evening, Simeon.
Hi, good evening.
Calling from Salisbury Central.
Yes, I. Salisbury Central.
Yes.
You going to work on Monday?
Oh, yes. Properly dressed. Everything ready.
Yes, I.
And I have my red flag. So things will moving on. I am not one of the lazy ones, you know.
Yes.
They don't want to work. They want everything free.
Yes.
Not like that.
Yes, I.
I'm waiting for my PM to talk about. PM, thank you for everything you're doing for us in that country. God will continue blessing you and this country of ours.
Amen.
Hold
Amen.
tight, labor rights. We are there to stay.
That's right.
Let me see if my sisters there, I know they're listening, especially Olive Sabra.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just night to you all children.
All right then. Thank you, my dear. Yeah, man, we'll pick up the Petit Tavern folks, so everybody is doing good. Of course, the folks on Facebook, yes, Clarence, you know, locked tongue to Facebook there, Clarence, not missing that at all. Let's say a special good evening to you all. It's always a pleasure having you all, and of course, we look forward to your discussion throughout tonight's program. Let's take this final call there for the evening, this segment, and we'll take your calls later. Caller, good evening to you.
Yes, Simeon, that's your boy Guada.
Guada Sakafet.
Guada Lakachibi.
C'est bon.
Et nous quelque chose. Mais si on pas même opposition et on a crié pour dire qu'on pas de travail, on pas ma gouvernement, on pas dans rien du tout, on est sérieux. Pour le démon qui dépend dit, les dit c'est Hollande, c'est Prime Minister, Peter splitted union là. Mais monsieur fou, mais pas de quoi. Moi pas dire yo. Avec comment que cette PM a moqué la PM, Guada que Dominique avait passé voir lundi parce que lundi du travail. Voilà qui passe voir.
All right, boys, boy. Jimmy Wayne.
Dit workers, les bons qui travaillent et laissez les bons travailler, les bons qui continuent de travailler. One love labor, we love you.
Bonsoir, Guada. Yeah, but labor qui travaille ever, labor qui continue et travaille. Thank you to all of you who called into this segment of our discussion here tonight as we begin our program. Of course, we will open up the lines a little later. We have the Honorable Prime Minister coming in this evening there with us on this program. Of course, he will be addressing several important issues of national interest. As you all know, he's always at work and never give up on working. That is why we have him as our leader. No doubt, it's a person who does not hesitate. I'll play a little thing there for you.
Cross the bridge. Them boys in Cassie Rose. Belgish Chauffeur. Rosa Central. PM the readers. Fokolo. What about Bossy? Them boys in Bright Red. Big up. Mr. Rich across the bridge. Enough respect. From AM to PM we working. From AM to PM we working. From AM to PM we working. From AM to PM, work out alright. From AM to PM we working.
Yes, sir, you get that, people, from AM to PM. Just wanted to give you a little piece of the honorable there. You know it is already. That's how we do it here on the next level. We working. Clarence, of course, tonight, as it's already 28 minutes past, and we will bring in our political leader very shortly. But before we do that, we want to share with you, of course, what our discussion is going to be about tonight. Because as you know, we are dealing with a few issues tonight that has to do with the idea of money missing. We'll be addressing that tonight. The issue of nothing happening in Dominica. That's a statement you keep hearing coming from the members on the Good Do Nothing Party, because that is the name I give them now. The members on the Do Nothing Party, they are giving you the impression that there is nothing. You listen to them on the radio, on the various programs that they have, whether it is the religious, so-called religious programs or sports connection programs or whichever one, they give you the impression that nothing is happening. Tonight we'll address that as well as the do nothing, so-called do nothing policy that the UWP continue to address. Also, the Prime Minister will, of course, be dealing with many of, I said, the important development issues that are ongoing, which are very positive issues that will impact on Dominica's economy. Now, of course, it's been another week since I was there, and I have been following all of the various discussion that has been ongoing on the radio, also what have been going on social media. I have heard many statements from a number of persons who are aligned, of course, I would say, to the UWP. They may call themselves people of different grouping, whatever grouping it is, but I've listened to them. But interestingly, I want to just play something for you that have to do with this issue of do nothing. And also the issue of nothing happening and the issue of missing money. The UWP have been constantly over the past time telling Dominicans and telling the world by extension that money is missing in Dominica because nothing is happening in here. And of course, we have a citizenship program and nothing is happening. It's fascinating, though, to have listened to Lennox Linton, who spoke recently. And coming out of, now, he spoke recently and he also spoke some time ago, which I was fortunate to have been listening to him. And interestingly, he was making mention to the CBI program and projects in Dominica. But you know how I do it already. I never really like to say what they say. I like to play what they say so you, the listeners, can hear for yourself and you can have an idea of what exactly they said. Because as you know, they have been saying that nothing is happening. Now, just this week, Lennox Linton made a statement with regard to construction. And he was saying it in the context of, people, he figure Dominicans should be working on the projects that are happening in Dominica. The reality is, if you take a closer look at the projects that are going on, whether it is the aerial tram, whichever project, you'll see the large amount of Dominicans that are at work, whether it's the housing program, many of the road programs. Let me play what he actually said with regard to construction for you, the listeners.
With all of this construction around the country being funded by money from the sale of the people's passports.
Now, that is important for me. I want to play that for you again. Let us enter.
With all of this construction around the country being funded by money from the sale of the people's passports.
Now, remember, money is missing. They claim that money is missing. Nothing is happening.
With all of this construction around the country being funded by money from the sale of the people's passports.
With all of this construction that is happening, that is funded by the sales of the people's passport. Now, he can call it what he wants. He can call it passport, he can call it citizenship. It is the citizenship, the very CBI, that they are out there criticizing, telling people nothing is happening. Nothing at all is happening. He is now telling you this week, just this week, he's saying, with all of this construction that is happening all over Dominica. So you think these lazy people who are telling you to do nothing on Monday are not seeing where the so-called missing money they're claiming that is missing is being spent? How is all of these projects he's talking about that is going on around Dominica being funded? Where we believe the money to fund all of these projects are coming from. We're picking it up somewhere. It is the CBI money. That is where the millions and the billions are spending. But listen to something he said some time ago, and of course I had to go back in my archive and get that, because when I heard him, I wanted you, the listeners, to, of course, hear him, listen to this one. Very interesting. We only pay attention to it before when I played it, but he said it some time ago.
The state was collecting money, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars from the sale of its passports for housing in Dominica. And you can see the housing now. All the apartment complexes that have gone up in Daly's and in Laplaine and in Castle Bruce and in the West Coast and in Portsmouth, and all of the housing that have been done down in the south, in Grand Bay, in Petite Savanne, in the Bellevue area for Petite Savanne and so on. All of that with state money that belongs to the state.
So you see, so do I need to talk again for tonight, or should I just got my home? Where is the man explained better than I or Clarence or Caris or any of us have ever explained on this program, where the money from the CBI, you know, he said millions, and he used the word billions. The so-called millions and billions. Listen, you know.
The state was collecting money, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars from the sale of its passports for housing in Dominica. And you can see the housing now. All the apartment complexes that have gone up in Daly's and in Laplaine and in Castle Bruce and in the West Coast and in Portsmouth, and all of the housing that have been done down in the south, in Grand Bay, in Petite Savanne, in the Bellevue area for Petite Savanne and so on. All of that is state money that belongs to the state.
So it's state money, and it's money that belongs to the state, and it's CBI money. Now, that is what Lennox Linton and Edison James is asking Dominicans to come and sit at their home. Don't go to work. Don't do nothing, because we want until that money come back into our coffers. That's what they told the people when they went by the bridge. The money that Linton is telling us that he is seeing is being spent in constructions as recently as this week, all over Dominica. The billions and the millions, according to him, Linton, that he is saying, that is being spent in housing, and he give you all of the places. Mopanipu mentioned Lyoko, he had your tooth. All where he see all of that money is being spent, yet still, they are on their programs, telling people that nothing is happening in this country, and millions and billions of dollars are missing. Gentlemen, I don't know if you all want to give a brief comment on that, because very soon we'll be having the Prime Minister joining us. Clarence.
I have explained that already, Simeon.
I know.
Linton is taking a figure and multiply it by 0, and he is the only one who can do that. I am not aware. I am aware of Pythagoras theorem I am aware of Boy's law in arithmetic, in mathematics, in whatever it is. But I never knew there was a theorem where anyone can multiply a figure by 0 and get another figure except 0. I am not aware of that.
Yes, sir.
So it seems to me Lennox Linton brain has not developed past 13 years, because my granddaughter who is 13 knows any figure or anything you multiply by 0, the result is 0. And I'm saying that because under the CBI, whether it is the housing option, whether it is the cash option, whether it is the airport option, whether it is the real estate option, all of them have dependent children below the age of 18. And the law SRNO 37 of 2014 states, dependent children below the age of 14 do not pay. They pay $0.
Yes, sir.
So if you have a number of persons, and in this case, as I said, 40,000, you would really have about 10,000 or more dependent children, because one family can have 3-4 children and they do not pay. But what Linton has done, take those children who do not pay and multiply it by $75,000, and then he is getting a figure. So he multiplying 75,000 by 0, and he's getting a figure, and he's saying it's $8 billion. That was $9 billion was collected. So that is Linton alone can do that. I mean, I cannot do that.
You can't do that. As an auditor, you can't do that.
I cannot do that. I cannot do that.
Yes, Gareth, sir.
But you see, me, to be very honest, if we didn't have the Prime Minister tonight,
yes,
and if we didn't have the thousands of listeners listening to us, I would just tell you, just repeat that thing for the whole night and let us go to our home, because the gentleman has made the case as to where the CBI money is being spent.
The billion.
Billions.
And the million.
And the million, hundreds of millions. And so when he tells us about construction, he's referring to the international airport that is being under construction. He's referring to the schools, of course, the Dominica Grammar School and the Maho School that just completed recently. So he's referring to all the other projects, the health facilities, how many health centers all over the country. And he has made it very clear that it's in the housing. And he said all where the housings are. But he didn't mention Marigot at all.
He missed Marigot.
He missed Marigot.
But it's fascinating that these guys are driving throughout Dominica, like us, we are driving. They are seeing the major investment that is ongoing in the island. All of this money is being spent, and yet still, when they see the reality on the ground, they go on the radio, and then there are people who listen to them. There are people who follow them. There are people who come and give you the impression that, but in the same breath, you have him saying what he is actually seeing that's happening on the ground. Now, the other part is, we'll be joining, of course, in the next 5 minutes, we'll bring on the political leader and the Prime Minister, Dr. Skerrit. The other part there, before we bring the Prime Minister in, is asking people to come to stay at your home on Monday and do nothing. Don't go to work. Dominicans have to remember what UWP is made out of. It's a party that has not been doing nothing for over 20 years in this country. They never build a house for one person. They never raise money to paint a house or to help an elderly or to do nothing for nobody. Linton was leader of the party. The only 2 things he got was 2 scholarships. I don't think I remember him giving one to anybody in the community except his own. He take them and bring them home. At the end of the day, this is a party where the leader, when he was leader of the party, they raised money. The monies that they raised was always to either pay Lennox bills or to take care of his personal issues. It was never about assisting people. They always a party that does nothing. To remind Dominicans that Prime Minister Skerrit brought them in the cabinet to assist after Erica, gave them a very important position with a blank check that they could spend in their constituency, identify things they could do. They did not seize that opportunity. Rather, they fight and went on the fence. And they stayed on the fence and did nothing at all. You had Lennox Linton telling Sam Raphael after Erica, don't accept the money from the government. Do nothing. Stay home. Don't create the hotel. Don't create employment. That was the attitude and the motto of the UWP a very long time. You had Dr. Farrar, the great Dr. Farrar, who became the deputy leader. Dr. Farrar became he was a candidate for the St. Joseph constituency for UWP. Then he rose to the position of deputy leader of the party. And I have never seen a person become deputy leader of the party and run so fast. Within less than 3 months, Dr. Farrar broke away. And I always wondered, and I met him one of those days and we were laughing about it because he heard me say that. Why is it that he left the party so soon, so just, having come and, being the deputy leader, one would expect, I was expecting him to stay with the party, maybe rise to the position where he would maybe become the leader or something like that. But Dr. Farrar ran. And the reason why he ran, during one of the campaigns he was having in St. Joseph, he said this interesting thing to us.
I continue to be astonished by this irony. A party that calls itself workers, it is dominated by people who refuse to work.
A party that calls itself workers, it refused to work. So what UWP is attempting to do there, Dr. Farrar diagnosed them as a doctor with that problem long time. He diagnosed them long that they are a people that don't want to work. And he being a working man, an entrepreneur, a businessman, a doctor, knows that you cannot have people like that as your company. So he left them within less than 3 months and went and continued his private work. And today the man has expanded his business. The same Dominica, where they sit down there saying nothing happening. He didn't stop there, He also said that to us again in St. Joseph.
I believe in hard work. The good book promotes hard work. It says that if any would not work, he shall not eat. This means to me that a lazy man should be allowed to starve. If one does not make personal progress by doing hard work, I cannot conceive how we can positively change the circumstances of the 70,000 of us on island and so many more thousands in the diaspora.
So, you understand what that good doctor that diagnosed those fellows is telling us? He's not telling us that this week, or after they had their so-called thing where they want people to stay at their home and play lazy and do work, He was saying that to us many, many, many years ago in a campaign. When he left them and he decided he cannot deal with those lazy fellas because they are set up good for nothing, doing nothing, all they are set on leeches, trying to suck on the money that the Dominica broke. But they always have a fundraiser. They always collecting the money. That's what they are, leeches. So he realized before they had to suck him dry, suck the whatever little thing that are wrong him dry, best he leave them fellas alone. Let me play that for you again because I want to play that for you one more time.
I believe in hard work. The good book promotes hard work. It says that if any would not work, he shall not eat. This means to me that a lazy man should be allowed to starve. If one does not make personal progress by doing hard work, I cannot conceive how we can positively change the circumstances of the 70,000 of us on island and so many more thousands in the diaspora.
All right. So, it's already 8:45 and of course, as I said, Dr. Skerrit will be joining us at this time and let us see if we can get him connected there to our Zoom there. Prime Minister, good evening. Are you there with us, PM? Good evening. Of course.
Hi. Good evening to you. I'm here.
Good evening, political leader. Good evening.
Thank you very much. Let me greet you, Simeon, of course, and Clarence and Caressa for hosting tonight's Next Level. I'm happy to be on. I just came from CARICOM meeting, and of course, CELAC. CARICOM was held, as you know, in Guyana, and CELAC was held in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Mm-hmm. So I'm always happy to be back. As a matter of fact, I'm supposed to travel to Jamaica on Monday afternoon, but that has been called off. Mm-hmm. We were supposed to go there to meet with the Haitian stakeholders to seek to assist in bringing some kind of resolution to the challenges confronting the sister nation of Haiti. But so we have to reschedule that meeting.
Yes.
At some other date.
Indeed.
I'm here. I'll be on for as long or as short as you so direct.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you, and I'm very happy to have you. I'm sure the listeners across Dominica have been looking forward to hearing you on the next level. And tonight, I have no doubt you will, of course, address several of the important issues that, of course, is going to impact on the lives of the citizens of this country. And it is an honor to have you, Prime Minister.
No, pleasure. I mean, I've been following. I try not to get involved in any confrontation. That has never been my style, and it should never be my style at all. But sometimes it requires you to respond to, say not everything you can respond to as a prime minister.
Right.
Because I am not an idle person. Time is very precious and important. But there's been so many falsehoods being perpetuated by a faction of the United Workers' Party. And I think it's important that we take note of them and we respond from time to time. So what you guys are doing on the radio every single day, especially on the Hang and Next Level, is very important, not only to the Dominica Labour Party, but this is national service. So do not underestimate the extraordinary work that all of you do on behalf of the people of Dominica. Because if we allow these guys to get away with their lies and so on, it will already be for the destruction of the country. I'm not sure if you have any questions, but they try to peddle, for example, this talk about missing billions.
Yes, PM.
But at the same time they're saying that they're missing billions, they are also citing several projects in the country which have been financed by the CBI and which are being financed by the CBI.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say to Dominicans very clearly, and without any fear of contradiction, there are absolutely no missing monies that are due to the people of Dominica. None. This government has had a sterling record of being able to account for every single dollar placed in its care and oversight. When you speak to the World Bank, we have 100% a record of being able to account for the resources they have given to us. They do their own audits, and we are in the top class in terms of being able to account for the monies given to us. And we recall when we came into government in 2000, we were not able to borrow from the World Bank. You know why?
Mm-hmm.
Because the UWP had gone against the procurement rules of the World Bank, and we had to repay the monies to the World Bank. And it's only then we were able to get back into the black books of the World Bank. we have been able, for example, the European Union. The European Union can tell you that Dominica is its best student insofar as the use of the money is given to us and our ability to account for the resources.
Mm-hmm.
If you recall, when we came into government, there was a fiasco in respect to the water project in the Carnago territory.
Mm-hmm.
That the United Workers' Party went contrary to the procurement rules of the World Bank, of the European Union, and gave the contract to the then chairman of the board of DOWASCO to carry out works for and behalf of DOWASCO. In respect to the CBI, that is the only government, only party in the history of the CBI program where people can see for their eyes, with their eyes, what this government has been able to do utilizing the resources of the CBI. When Eugenia Charles, may her soul rest in peace, was the prime minister of this country, nobody knew what was being used, how the CBI money were being used. As a matter of fact, when you spoke about CBI in days of Eugenia Charles, The only thing you could recall people talking about was the Lai River Hotel project.
Yeah, that's all we knew.
There were no infrastructural projects happening in Dominica with CBI funds. There were no public sector investment programs. There were no poverty alleviation programs. There were no employment programs. There were no investments in small businesses. There were no investments in agriculture, and the list goes on. When the United Party came on board, they were in fact running two programs, one in the Ministry of Finance and the other in the Office of the Prime Minister. The records are there to show, with letters from Jose Louis, the then Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Legal Affairs, raising alarm, being a whistleblower, but he was never taken on seriously. And the United Party was never able to account for any monies because we never knew how the monies were spent. We never knew how much was raised under the CBI when the Workers' Party was in government. When we got into government and I became the Prime Minister of this country, it was the first time that we started accounting to the Parliament how much monies are being raised by the CBI. So when you go to the accounts of the country, when you go to the estimates of the country, you will see a line item that says revenues from the CBI program. Projected revenues, and the following year, projected and actual revenues are collected from the CBI. And you can see through housing, through agriculture, for public infrastructure, through health, education, employment opportunities, small business development, where the CBI monies have been spent in this country. When Hurricane Maria hit us in 2017, we had saved about $389 million from the CBI program. At that time, I was saving the money as Minister of Finance and Prime Minister to pay off our national debt. Because it was always my vision to be the first developing country in the world which did not owe anybody. And had it not been for the hurricane of 2017, the government, Dominica would have had all of the monies that it needed to pay off its national debt. And what I was going to do with the debt that we were paying every year, we were going to create a special fund where we would still pay into these funds as if we were paying our national debt and use those resources for the continued economic development of Dominica. You understand?
Yes.
Because it has always been my intention as Prime Minister at some time to win ourselves out of the CBI. You understand? Because we recognize that it's not everything that will last forever, so we have to prepare ourselves for down the road. And so we would have had enough monies to pay off our national debt in Dominica, and our debt to GDP ratio will be 0. You understand? At the time of the hurricane in 2017, in addition to the $389 million we had in the banks of Dominica, we had over $200 million saving for the construction of the international airport. Obviously, you're hit by a hurricane, 226% of your GDP affected, 90% of homes destroyed or damaged, people out of work, businesses affected, and we have to use those monies to help people restore their lives and livelihoods, and to rebuild infrastructure, and to put roofs over people's heads, and to ensure that after the hurricane, when businesses were not making money, we paid the salaries of private, not only public sector workers who did nothing, but private sector workers. We paid their salaries. Many businesses in Dominica, we bankroll them by paying their wage bill for them to ensure that the dignity of a human being, the dignity of a man could have been maintained, notwithstanding the fact that we were affected by a hurricane, that the man could take money home to his wife and to his children and pay his bills. And pay his bills. These are the things that we did in this country. The construction that we have had since Maria, 95% of the funds that we have used to reconstruct Dominica have been our own resources. Our own resources.
Significant.
And we have been able to generate those resources because of the fiscal prudence and the responsibility and the way that this government has managed the affairs of Dominica. And for more than 7 months after the hurricane, we were collecting no revenues from the port, from the customs, because we set aside the VAT, we set aside the import duties, because we wanted people to have a little head start, a little jump start, ability to rebuild their businesses, to rebuild their homes, to refurnish their homes, to bring the construction materials to help their families rebuild their homes. And we took care of all of the bills of the country. All after the hurricane. When people said that Dominica finished, the people who left Dominica because they figured Dominica will never recover. Mm-hmm. People said it will take us 20 years, and I accepted that it would have taken us 20 years to rebuild Dominica.
I mean, most
because of the sheer destruction we had in this country. Mm-hmm. But because of the leadership of the country, because of the vision of this government, the commitment to hard work, the abilities of the government, we were able to restore this country in less than 2 years. Less than 2 years. Mm-hmm. And when you look at what we have been able to deal with from 2000 to 2004 and 2004 to now, in terms of natural disasters, we inherited in 2000 when we came in a country in peril. A country in total darkness, left by the destruction, caused by the destruction, the actions of the United Workers' Party. And we rebuild Dominica. When you look at the disasters that we have suffered in Dominica, when you look at the external shocks that we have suffered in Dominica, just imagine if we didn't have to relocate Petit Savan and do not have to relocate Jubic, and we do not have to build homes for so many people. And after Hurricane Maria, and spend all this money to sustain the livelihoods of Dominicans. And how much money we spend to save lives. I'm not saying so to boast because people know me. I don't boast. I believe I'm what people define as being humble. Mm-hmm. But see what we did to protect lives during the pandemic. Yeah. We had the most comprehensive program in the developing world to assist and to protect people during the pandemic. Free meals, free accommodation, free treatment to ensure that those who fell sick would survive, and to ensure that we had the medicines and the doctors and the nurses. We created a new hospital in Portsmouth that you could have done x-rays and all the necessary tests you require up in Portsmouth at the COVID-19 hospital in Portsmouth. And we set up this hospital in a week and a half, spending tens of millions of dollars. We became a net exporter of vaccines. We became a net exporter of test kits and ventilators, because we were able as a government to mobilize enough for ourselves and enough to even share for our neighbors. Yes, sir. During the pandemic. When Martinique, for example, Martinique was desperate for doctors. Mm-hmm. And because Martinique is not an independent territory, it could not go to Cuba directly to ask for doctors. You know who they called to ask to speak to the Cubans for them?
Tell us.
Roosevelt Skerrit.
Yes, sir.
And within 48 hours of me sending a note to the president of Cuba, we had doctors landing in Martinique to help save lives in Martinique. And so this nonsense about it is Linton's head, and you see how big his head is?
Yep.
It's his head, it is. Mm-hmm. About missing billions. Believing that, don't say small lie, don't say 10,000 missing. No, say billions. Because it is said that the bigger the lie is the more you expect people to believe it.
Yes.
You understand? Mm-hmm. And that is the lie that he is perpetuating. Now, they speak about a do-nothing campaign.
Yeah.
What a set of bankrupt, intellectually bankrupt individuals that you have. These are people who want to run the country.
Yes, they are the ones.
That you cannot think in this period of any policy, any programs that you can suggest to the country and suggest to your supporters and to the country, this is what we would do if we were to get in government. But you know, what's happening in the Workers' Party, there are factions in the Workers' Party.
Yes.
You realize every time there is a public event like this, Linton waits for Thompson Fountain to be out of the country.
I realized that too.
Thompson was there for all carnival. I see Thompson Rosso.
1 week before.
Thompson said that the best carnival he has ever seen. The most successful carnival. He was there enjoying himself. I mean, most people didn't take him on because he's a waste of time himself. But he enjoyed his carnival. And Linton found out the date that Thompson found they're supposed to leave Dominica. And he put that rally on the Sunday just after Thompson left the country. Thompson was never consulted. And I have inside information in the URP. There are people who provide me with information. And so it is an attempt by Edison James and Linton to seek to recapture the Workers' Party because the Workers' Party has left them. You understand? And for Edison 8 years to be out there hustling to organize this, it tells you that the man is a desperate man. And Linton, you saw his reaction when he lost the leadership.
Yes.
To Thompson Fountain in Marigot with Master challenging Fountain. So it is that faction.
Yes.
That is seeking to create this situation in Dominic. But let me say to them that their attempt to revive the same old tactics which Linton sought to use when he was leader, these are the same tactics that will cause them to stay where they are, out of parliament and certainly out of government in this country. Because don't believe because people don't hear me talking much and believe that's Skerrit. That's Skerrit not dying, my brother. Politically or otherwise, You understand?
Yes.
And so this is what they're trying to do. But their actions what they're seeking to get people to do are things at the end of the day that will hurt ordinary Dominicans. It's not hurting Linton. Linton gets his pension from Parliament.
Yeah.
He gets his Social Security. Mr. James is receiving his Social Security pension. He's receiving a parliamentary pension, and he's receiving $7,000 from the government every month as former Prime Minister.
That's a policy on the Labour Party.
Yes, on the Labour Party. And $7,000 tax free. he has a GA driving. He has a help at his house being paid for. So he's not going to affect anything. Do nothing is not going to affect Edison James. He'll still eat bread tomorrow. But they're seeking to block roads so that the farmers can't get to the markets. They're seeking to block roads so that the lady who has to get the dialysis treatment, which happened in 2019, when people could not get, the man from Marigot and from Wesley couldn't get to Rosa to get dialysis treatment because they blocked the road. When people couldn't come from enough to go down to road to the hospital in the Dominica China French Hospital to get medical treatment because they blocked the road and set fire on the road. So at the end of the day, their actions end up hurting ordinary people, including their supporters. All in an effort to advance their selfish political gains. That's not how we behave in opposition. Labour Party stayed in opposition for 25 years. We got scholarships for Dominicans. We went to England and we got British parliamentarians to ask questions in the parliament about Dominica and the banana industry and the special treatment. We brought doctors from Martinique and Guadeloupe to treat Dominicans. We built roads. We ran preschools. We provided students with uniforms and bus fare to get them to school. That's what Labour did in opposition. And what is the United Workers' Party doing in opposition? Seeking to create mayhem in Dominica, to deny ordinary people their way of life, to deny ordinary people the opportunities to make a bread and to ensure themselves our daily bread. So let us understand, my friends, that this is what these guys want to do. It's all in an attempt to revive the same old politics that they're talking about. So this is being propelled and perpetuated by a wing of the United Party, as I said. Okay? And so these actions about do nothing has nothing to do with Dominica. It has everything to do with Linton, aided and abetted by Edison James, to seek to recapture the leadership of the Workers' Party. Because you know what? They want to remain relevant. There's nothing Linton loved the most to call himself leader of the parliamentary opposition.
Yeah, he took pride in that, yes.
But let me tell you something. Though there's nowhere in the Constitution which says the leader of the parliamentary opposition, the Constitution references leader of the opposition, but he loved the word parliamentary. And now that you have taken UW from him, what else the man has? What else he has? Nothing but to fight Thompson Fountain, to see if he can wrestle. So people like Thompson Fountain can never survive in the Workers' Party. He can never survive because these guys are not about constructive development. They're not about constructive engagement. So this is all about an extension of the leadership struggle and attempts to undermine Thompson Fountain. But I am not going to spend my time, focusing on these guys. I have a country to build. And there are a number of very exciting projects and programs that are on the way, that are happening in Dominica. And you know what these guys understand, Simeon? If we are able to implement, and I know by the grace of God, we shall implement those programs and policies, there is no way that they'll ever get into government. The only party that has presented policies, programs, vision, a strategy for the economic and social development of Dominica is the Dominica Labour Party. We have the international airport.
Yes.
A project that was elusive, no government was able to do it. No government was able to put lights at the Douglas Charles Airport, the then Melvin Hall Airport. You know who put lights at the Melvin Hall, at the then Melvin Hall, now Douglas Charles? When I became Prime Minister of the country. Put lights. And we always said that this was a medium-term strategy, medium-term intervention in terms of improving air access into Dominica.
That's true.
And we said ultimately for the long-term the sustained economic advancement and development of Dominica, we needed to build the international airport. But no bank in the world is going to give you monies to build the international airport. None. And we have been able to utilize the Synergy by Investment Program to help finance international airport. So at the end of the day, there'll be nothing on our national debt in respect to the international airport.
That's big news.
And there's so nobody has to repay this. No Dominican child today will be tasked with paying for the international airport. They said it will never happen.
Yeah.
How this thing happened, they want to do everything possible to stop it from happening. They understand this. They understand this. They understand that the international airport is under construction.
It's happening.
We were owing property owners. They made noise about it. When we paid, they were vexed that we paid the property owners. Because they don't want anything. Anything. And we have to understand in Dominica. And I'm hoping that young people understand it. Because this airport is really for young people of Dominica. In my view, and in the view of many, and you see it in the region, you see it in globally. Once you have this international airport and you enhance access into your country, it will help transform the economy of your country. Give you a better hope for economic development. It gives you a better hope for enhancing the economic opportunities of your citizens.
Yeah.
Look at what the direct flight from America has had, the impact it's had on the Dominican economy. On taxi operators, on tour guides, on hotels, on restaurants, on car rentals. And so we can understand what when you bring this international airport in and you have flights from North America, additional flights from North America, from Europe coming to Dominica, the sheer number of people will be coming. And we're not only building the international airport, we're also building rooms, hotels, to ensure that we have beds for people to sleep upon. And so my challenge to young people, especially the young professionals, the lawyers, the doctors, the teachers, the agronomists, the engineer, the surveyor, my brothers and sisters, buy a piece of land. And the government, I have directed the Minister for Housing to open up more lots for Dominican young people. We'll be targeting those lots, will be targeting young professionals, those lots. In Jimmet, we will start in the next week and a half in Cotton Roads and Canefield East. In Warner, we're going to be creating more lots in Cotton Hill and Portsmouth.
Great idea.
To get about 150 lots to make available to young professionals. Buy a lot. Build the upstairs for you to sleep and build the downstairs for you to put on the Airbnb market. Don't get carried away by this internecine attempts by the Workers' Party to destroy opportunities. This is a time for young people to position themselves. Don't wait for when the airport start and complete and you see flight coming and then you will try to look to buy up some land. No, buy it now. We have lands, agricultural lands. Position yourself to start planting.
Demand.
That airport, my brothers, mark my word, that airport is going to take Dominica to the level that we've been yearning for. And this is why we are so committed to it. Because we have a last opportunity to get this airport in Dominica. And by the grace of God, we will get it done. So the farmers are going to benefit from this. The hoteliers are going to benefit from this. The Airbnb people, because Airbnb is becoming very popular in Dominica. As a matter of fact, I've told the Ministry of Tourism that we're going to develop a special policy framework for Airbnb in Dominica to ensure that they have the white towels, to ensure that they have the white sheets, to ensure that they have the supplies and they can get them duty-free. A special regime, that there are conditions set for Airbnb in Dominica. I believe that in the budget coming that we'll make reference to this. The tour guides, the vendors. Because what we need in Dominica is more people to consume more. We need to increase on our consumption. And the way you're going to increase on our consumption is by bringing more and more people into Dominica. And the international airport is a great way to bring in people, more people into Dominica. And so we are committed to this. Yeah. I'm hoping to visit the airport towards the end of next week so we can highlight the progress we've made. But the airport is taking shape. And by August of this year, you will have a clear sense of the runway. It will be concreted, but you will see the runway taking shape. Yeah. And every day you go on site, you see the progress. Guys are working 7 days a week. So, in addition to these guys, they're trying to undermine the leadership of the Workers' Party. They're trying to also undermine the national agenda. These guys are enemies of progress. And if you realize everything that we have done in this country, they have criticized. They criticized it. Yes, we care for Mr. Linton calling the senior citizens greedy. They denigrated the people under the NEP. And now they're talking nonsense about they'll pass a law in Parliament for the NEP. Give me a break. They made the people on the NEP feel that they're second-class citizens. People who are doing an exceptional job in maintaining the beauty and the aesthetics of our country, the cleanliness of our country. The people who are providing care to the senior citizens and the disabled. You chastise them, and now you want to come and tell them that if you come in, but you're not coming anywhere. You're not coming anywhere in Dominica.
Wait for him.
That's what I'm saying?
Yes.
And they're on these enemies of the country on Facebook, they're on DNO, they're on Q95. The same group.
Yes.
Enemies of progress. And you come in with this nonsense about do nothing. Of course you guys want to do nothing because you guys are not doing anything. What have you done for the Marigot people, Mr. Linton? Nothing.
Nothing.
What else Workers' Party doing for anybody? People die. They see their supporters die, and they don't see them.
They don't visit.
They don't visit. They don't come to the home to sympathize with grieving families. They don't come to the funerals. You don't see them because they're not interested in people. They're not interested in people, my friend. Then you have the geothermal project that's going on that we believe is going to help propel investments in the private sector. Because the largest cost for all hotel operators, for manufacturers, for agro-processors, is energy. And if we're able to implement this geothermal project, which you're confident that we will, you will see a reduction in the cost of energy, putting more money into the pockets of the investors, and thereby being able to realize the return on investment in a shorter period of time, and thereby using that extra revenue or income or dividend, they will be able to reinvest and expand the businesses in Dominica. And the world is looking to Dominica. The Caribbean is looking to see how successful we will be to implement this geothermal project. Because many have tried, and because of the sheer work involved in getting this geothermal project and the cost of it, there are many countries in the Caribbean have shied away from it. But we have persevered because we understand the importance of it. We understand what it means for the sustainable economic development of Dominica. Because these are foundational projects we put in place in Dominica. Foundational projects put in place in Dominica to complement the investments that we've made in agriculture and we continue making agriculture. When we talk about we're not making investment in agriculture, there's no... Simeon, the record will show Clarence is there as the director of audit. And a PS in agriculture who is a farmer lamented this, made reference to this many times, that the first government that has spent its own money in agriculture is this Dominican Labour Party government. Monies Michelle spent in agriculture, monies Edison James spent in agriculture, the Medicals Party, all came from Stabex, European Union funds. We're the first government that spent local revenue in investing in agriculture.
Millions.
We're the first government that provided financial support and technical support to farmers after a storm. The only people who should get back in those days were Banner farmers who were insured with Rhode Island insurance. You understand?
Yes.
And we continue to invest. We contracted a loan from the World Bank of $67 million to invest in agriculture. You understand? Invest in agriculture, growing the agricultural sector. And today, we believe and we maintain that agriculture is the mainstay of the economy. This is why we continue to invest heavily in agriculture. Housing, there's no government that has spent, as a matter of fact, this month, Simeon will be handing over some 40 keys to 40 new home owners under one component of the housing revolution. So 40 keys in the middle of March will be handed over to deserving Dominicans. And we are under construction over 300 homes across Dominica. There's no government that has spent, and when we talk about the government brooks and so on, I made a point to your radio program some time ago.
Yeah.
That under the housing recovery project. We're building 420 homes. If we were to sell these homes at $100,000 a home, you can understand how much money we'll get back.
So significant.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And plus those we're building on the other sources. If we were to sell those, the apartments that we gave out, if we were to sell an apartment for $60,000, and that is just a fraction of the cost of construction. You know how much revenue, how much income we would have been able to generate from the sale of these homes. And so we continue to build homes in Dominica, and we'll continue to ensure we do that, to provide better housing for our citizens. And Dominica is the envy in the world in respect to a government's policy, a government's program for housing its people, providing a decent housing. When I go across Dominica, and when I went across Dominica in 2004 and 2000, 2001, 2003, the sheer number of Dominicans who had pit latrines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that very well.
And every party in the Caribbean now, they have a program in their manifesto on eradication of pit latrines. And you know where they get that from?
Right here.
And you know, when I said back then, Simeon, that we're going to eradicate pit latrines, you know, guys laughed at us, you know.
Yeah.
And they made calypsones.
Calypsos.
Yeah.
And Simeon, 6 months after I made the national policy statement in Dominica, you know who followed me?
Who is that?
The United Nations.
Wow. Yeah.
The United Nations declared a global effort to eradicate pit latrines in the world.
That's so true. I remember that, yes.
And countries that have more money than us, richer than us, when you see the kind of toilets they're building for the citizens compared to what we're building for our citizens, it's chalk and cheese. Chalk and cheese. And today, when you go across Dominica, we have seen the government's policy manifesting itself with the eradication of pit latrines in Dominica. All man Jack has a flushing toilet in Dominica. No cockroach biting you anymore.
Pipe-borne water.
Don't talk about pipe-borne water. We now have 100% access to pipe-borne water in Dominica. In 1 year, I gave Duasco, in 1 year, we gave Duasco $99 million to invest in the water system, to provide access to pipe-borne water. Because what's happening in Dominica is that you have a number of new communities that have been developed.
Yes.
With no water, and we have to bring water to all of us. Sylvania, you Warner, you name the communities. We have to build new water systems. And 1 year we gave to us for $99 million to invest in the water system in Dominica. And so we continue to do that. Health. People go to the hospital. 9.5 out of 10 people go to the hospital will tell you they get good care. You go to the hospital, a nurse on a long shift, or she vexed her boyfriend or her husband home. These are human beings. They may say something to you that they shouldn't say. You understand what I'm saying? And they had a long day. But you cannot use that to define the hospital.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You cannot use that to define the hospital. And when you look at the investments we have made and where we were in the hospital, when I became Prime Minister in Dominica, we did not have an ICU, an intensive care unit. And I went to Cuba and we negotiated with Fidel and Chavez. Fidel would provide the doctors and the technicians, and Hugo Chavez provided the equipment for the ICU. And in 2005 was the first time Dominica saw an ICU. The dialysis machine, we had one used dialysis machine which Dr. Schillingford got from Guadeloupe. One. You know how many we have today?
How many we have?
14.
Wow.
And that is just at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. We have machines at the Marigot Hospital too. And people come from PAHO, people come from the health sector in the region of the world, and when they see the quality of our dialysis program, they're amazed by the technology that we have. And patients will tell you that it is easier for them now to receive dialysis treatment than before because of the system that we have. Education, Simeon.
Yes. Very important.
With several schools under construction. As a matter of fact, we're having a groundbreaking for the Tebow Primary School on Wednesday afternoon. 7 schools to be constructed. Modernizing the education infrastructure in Dominica. This is where we are. I'm not even going to talk about roads and the much millions we spend in the Castle Bruce, Canago territory at Kingston Road. Yes, people were inconvenienced. Yes, the road was bad in terms of the surface and dust and so on. But look at the road now.
Yes. Beautiful.
Look at the road now. And to spend, and they cost overruns, but the original contract is $127 million. The roads enhancement will come in soon. We have contracted a loan of $41 million US from the Saudi Fund for Development. Tourism. There's several hotels that are under construction. There's several hotels that have opened.
Yeah.
The cable car, which will be the longest in the world, taking visitors to the Boiling Lake will certainly enhance the opportunities for tour guides and hotels and restaurants in Dominica, because more people will want to come to Dominica to experience this extraordinary adventure to the Boiling Lake. And we started pitching this to the cruise lines, and you could have smelled. Not only did you see the excitement, you were able to smell the excitement about that prospect for Dominica and that prospect for them. And they themselves cannot wait for its completion, because they will see a greater interest in Dominica. And as we speak about cruise tourism, we having one of the best cruise seasons that we've ever had so far.
Numbers high.
High. And so, and when we talk about, we even want to talk about how much we owe in schools and so on, when we had much more money. You remember we paid rather 40% of the outstanding amounts owed by students.
That was to the banks. Yes.
Banks.
Yeah, I remember that.
A guy who had a loan of $100,000, we gave him $40,000. $40,000 we gave him.
As a grant.
As a grant to pay off 40% of his loan. I was reading some news from America. Student loans, and I mean, let me tell all of the students who we send to school, if they have a student loan, is a few dollars they use just to make themselves look pretty in America, to take care of themselves extra. But in terms of the payments of tuitions and so on, the government has committed to that. And so now, in the US, students owe the federal government alone. I'm not even talking private entities, the federal government, student loans, $1.74 trillion.
Wow.
That's as of September 2023. And you know how many of the students have defaulted in paying their loans in America?
How much is that?
Based on the news I saw, a third.
Wow.
And plus those who had to drop out of school. Americans in America to drop out of school because they couldn't get more monies from student loans to continue paying for school. And we continue to provide and continue to pay for hundreds of our young people to attend an education of higher education.
And that's over a long period of time, Prime Minister.
Yes. I mean, and when you look at the investment we've made, it's only us, who have really given people opportunity to go to university where you have to pay money,
Mm-hmm.
And you just, we're talking about students we owe in for schools and so on. When this little Dominican poor children were in Cuba, for example,
yeah, a
whole year would pass before they get a little stipend or 20 or so US, 50 or so US a term,
Mm-hmm.
Either a month or a term, whatever it is. Don't get it?
Right.
So we continue to invest in small businesses with $27+ million we have at the aid bank, and people have gone for this and taken advantage of it. The marina we are working on, Simeon.
Yeah.
The cruise village we are working on. The new port we are working on. This project will come into fruition during this term of this government. Because we are doing that to ensure we sustain the investments that we have made thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to talk about the social safety nets. People say we should be doing these things,
mm-hmm.
but I believe it's important that we as a government, as a people, we have a Christian and biblical duty to look after the less fortunate.
I do agree.
This is why we will never compromise. We have never compromised on that.
Mm-hmm.
The SVK program. People say, oh, it's not going to last. It's going to last for 1 year because Skerrit only have money for 1 year. 15 years later is strong, providing care to our senior citizens. The National Employment Program will still continue to pay close to about $5 million every month. The ministers of sports will tell you that we outfitting 8 playing fields with lights. And our hope and prayer is that people will make use of those playing facilities.
Mm.
And so, Simeon, let us not get distracted. And my advice to the Labour Party supporters and Dominicans who are serious about Dominica, don't get distracted by these sideshows.
Yeah.
All what these guys are seeking to do is to take away the opportunities of the Dominicans. They have never been able to offer Dominicans anything. And they are seeking to destroy the opportunities for our country. And we should never allow it to happen.
That's right.
Never allow it to happen. This country and the world is faced with so many challenges.
Mm-hmm.
With the climate crisis, where we keep on making, advocating for the developed world to provide us with the financial resources to build resilience, to build adaptation. And we have to keep on fighting because it's an injustice that we can't give up on.
Right.
So while these guys are talking about some little nonsense in Dominican, trying to deny ordinary Dominicans of the way of life. Of the way of life.
Yes.
We continue not only to deal with the national issues in Dominica, but the regional and international challenges. So while I'm running Dominica, I have to be engaged in Haiti, I have to be engaged on the climate crisis issues, a number of issues.
You see that?
Building relations not only for Dominica's benefits, but for the region's benefit. You saw what we did during my chairmanship of CARICOM.
Yes.
With Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
The historic summit we had between CARICOM and Saudi Arabia. You know how much money Saudi Arabia has given to the Caribbean by way of loans thus far? And all of this was signed during my chairmanship.
Mm-hmm.
$645 million.
Wow. Significant.
New frontiers that we have opened up for Dominica and for the Caribbean to help with our energy, to help with our infrastructure, to help with our health systems. These are the kinds of things we're doing. And so, we're not going to get distracted.
Right.
I am confident that Dominicans will understand what is at play. I understand that they would understand that this is a sideshow that is just been engineered by Lennox Linton and Edison James and others. All to bring spotlight to themselves to undermine the leadership of Thompson Fontaine. And in the process, they would like to set the country on fire. Because in their heads, they believe that that will achieve the objective of bringing this government out of office. The only thing that can bring the government out of office is by people voting and deciding who is a government. Because people know me. I don't talk, but I'm not afraid of anybody.
Let the democratic system come to work.
Let it work. And nobody's going to scare me in Dominica. I was born here, my friend. So I'm not scared by these guys' tactics or antics. A man can't touch me either. We are focused on building this country, putting the investment where it matters to create jobs for people, opportunities for people, to sustain the investments that investors have made and also the government has made, so we can have a more prosperous country where everyone can live the Dominica dream of having a decent job, of having a decent home, and having a safe place for the children and themselves to recreate. Are we at the finish line? No, we're not. But we are on our way to the finish line, to the apex of the mountain, at which point we'll realize the Dominica dream. We have been faced with challenges, but this government has been equal to the challenges. We don't, as Prime Minister, I don't come to complain because I don't believe that leaders must complain. Leaders must find solutions to people's problems.
That's right.
And that's what we have done. So when people were crying, a hurricane and so on come, and people were sad and think, yes, I was sad. Yes, I was anxious. Yes, I was troubled because you are the leader of the country and everything is on your shoulder.
Right.
But I never cowered on the weight of the job. I never bent because of the weight of the job. I went across the world, mobilizing resources. When I was inside the United Nations building, speaking to donors and soliciting support to them, Mr. Linton was outside telling people, don't give us money.
That's true.
Wrote to the World Bank, wrote to the IMF, wrote to the European Union, telling them, don't give Dominica money.
Imagine that.
But he went to Algeria, as he told us.
Yes.
And he met with the Polisario, as he told us. And they promised him money, as he told us. But jig-joddy, we can't see the money.
Nothing has come.
And I know from the intelligence that we've gathered from the Moroccans that Algeria promised him $500,000 US.
Wow. No sight of that.
Remember when I asked him in Parliament, Outilage Allah, uncle?
Yeah, Outilage Allah.
So these guys all about themselves. All about themselves. And they believe that government has a butter.
Yes.
And that's what they want.
They want to come for it.
They want to come for it. Edison want to go in the State House. That's where he want. That's his position already.
Love that facility.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because when you remember when Erica came, I brought them fellas in the cabinet.
Yeah.
And first of all, these fellas are lazy. Because when they came to the cabinet, the thing that got them excited the most was snacks.
Wow.
And Linton was waiting for me to offer him a ministry.
Yeah, I recall he made two statements in regard to that.
That's why Skerrit tell me, my brother, I mean, look at ministry. What do you want me to do?
Something to consider.
What do you want me to do, my brother? I mean, of course I'll consider it. And I met my wife Linton, he come to my office and he's man sitting down there talking, and he was waiting for Mr. Linton, I have advised the president to appoint you as a minister and so on. That's all I'm waiting for. These guys are lazy. They have no interest in Dominica. If you look at it, they raise money for themselves whenever problem, but they'll never raise $1 for a sick Dominican. They'll never raise $1 for a Dominican who's trying to bury the mother or the father, the supporters. You'll never see them going in there and giving a farmer a bag of fertilizer, or even half a bag of fertilizer, or even a 5-pound bag of fertilizer. Nothing like that. Nothing. You don't see them. Look at the LYO there. The LYO, the Labour Youth Organization. Yeah. They went to Dalis today. Unfortunately, I couldn't join them because I had a meeting which lasted longer than I expected. And transformed the home of a guy in Dalis. Paint his house inside out.
Yeah, lovely project.
In half a day. So you're telling me that Linton them cannot go and buy a gallon of paint by Harris Paint, and when you go by Harris Paint, all fairness to them, just give you a discount if you're going to do a community project. Nothing like that.
They don't see that as important to them.
Nothing. When hurricane hit, the man called Asset Michael and asked for one generator.
Imagine that.
Not for two. So he can give somebody one generator he asked for.
And the entire country in darkness.
No. Gaston Brown called me that time. He said, what should I do? Look, this guy called us for generator. I said, give them a generator. Give him a generator. These guys have no interest. So whether it's Linton, whether it's Spags, whether it's Edison, whether it's Thompson Fountain, whoever comes into UWP, the same result you have. Because there are systemic and structural problems within the Workers' Party.
No doubt, you can see that.
They never came into existence to address people's circumstances.
No.
They never came to government to build Dominica. Because you don't have to be in government. And when they were in government, they had an opportunity and they never did anything.
Nothing at all.
The Labour Party has a record in government and outside of government of putting the people first. Of addressing people's social and economic circumstance. And so you see all kind of nonsense. There's a little foolishness of a salary scale from some Caribbean country.
Yeah.
They put it out there, Dominica. And what is, I want to caution people, especially people with knowledge and common sense. We have to be careful that we don't fall for these things. Somebody just put something on social media and say from Dominica. You can see the signature.
Yeah. With AI these days, people do all sorts of things.
You see what I'm saying? And if AI, they do all kinds of things these days. But Linton, Edison, and the likes are enemies to the state. No. Enemies of progress.
No.
Enemies to the private sector. Enemies to the senior citizens of Dominica. And so, if you say no, you will keep NEP, you will keep this, you will keep that. So why you want to go to the government for now?
Well,
you're not bringing nothing new.
Well, there will be nothing new for them to come with PM. Nothing new.
But they'll be out, and you'll remain out. And the people who are around them organizing these things, they all have self-interests.
Yes.
Boy, it's time for the good. Boy, so long in opposition. Boy, it's time we to get inside that sound. Boy, you have to push, you have to make noise, you have to burn the place.
They're desperate.
And that is the attitude they have.
Like those pastors who are building schools and repairing schools without tender. These are the ones.
Those pastors who are vexed with their brothers because they didn't. Anyway.
but PM, I wanted to ask you though, I mean, you spoke about the airport project, which is an important project, and the true impact that this project is expected to have on the economy. But I wanted to ask you, I know when the DLP came into power, there was an attempt by the DLP to construct an airport. There was a loan obtained for the purpose of constructing the airport. It was clear to Dominican that they had made actually no payment to that loan. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Some people would maybe want to know what has happened there.
They took a loan, which was really from the private sector of Trinidad and Tobago. And remember, the effective rate of that loan was about 19%. And they literally sold our patrimony to get this loan. And remember, out of this loan, they had to create a sinking fund. So you had the loan plus a sinking fund. And they also took Social Security money. So, they also issued a bond in Trinidad. So they took a bond, Dominica bond, to Trinidad. Then they took Social Security money and went to Trinidad and buy the bonds from Trinidad. So it's like a man have fish selling, and then his wife comes money to buy fish to take home. The same home the fisherman is from.
He's going to eat his dinner.
To make his dinner. And then they took the revenues, and when they took the revenues contrary to the provisions of the Constitution and the Finance Administration Act. And they took the revenues from the then Cable and Wireless, because we had shares in Cable and Wireless. So all our dividends and our tax revenues from Cable and Wireless went straight to Trinidad. It did not go in the consolidated fund. It went straight to Trinidad.
The spectrum fees and then the dividends.
Trinidad. Straight to Trinidad. That's what I'm saying. So they never took a loan for the airport, Simeon.
And the royalties from Dumlake for the water. Yeah.
That's right. So they paid some money from that loan in Trinidad, because part of the loan from Trinidad was ready to pay salaries because they couldn't pay salaries at the time.
Yeah. They paid salaries with it.
And because election was on them and they had nowhere to turn, nothing to say to the people of Dominica that they did in the 4.5 years, they had to pay some people for the lands. And a lot of the lands, for example, we paid when we came to government over the years, including 2 property owners who we paid for the construction of the airport now, who were not paid then. And so this is how they took some of the monies to pay for the airport. But there was never no airport plan. And when I hear, for example, Mr. James talking about, their site was the best, you know what we did? The same people who were part of the Edison James project, and Mr. What's his name? Mr. Lawrence, may his soul rest in peace, the engineer, who was the coordinator, we put them into a committee of some 19 people representing a wide cross-section of the society to review all of the documents that we have had from Edison James to Miss Charles. And that committee, with 80% of them on that committee, UWP supporters, concluded that essentially the airport project by UWP was a sham.
Wow.
It was a sham. That if they had gone ahead and construct the airport, we would have had serious visibility problems. You understand? So not even Leah or Karen Ellis will be able to land in the bay when we have rain and cloud.
Wow.
So we're not going to go back there.
But I just wanted to ask, in relation to the actual debt that they created, I mean, we have
they never paid. We've been paying the loan. They never paid anything.
So we've been paying for airport we never received.
Yeah, they wouldn't pay anything. And this guy's had a guy from Trinidad say he was a consultant who was developing the airport. The guy has not even built a footpath of 3 feet wide in Trinidad. Wow. And they have him designing an airport. And when we met the guy when he came to government, the guy said, "Boss man, we didn't know about enough." The fellas asked us to do something, so we just put something together. And you know this little cartoon stuff. That's what they had at Lagon.
Lagon. Yes.
Some paper plane ostensibly landing on some runway. I don't know where it is, the Flintstones days or whatever it is.
It was intended to mislead the general public, basically.
But they're not intended to. They misled the people. Of course. And that's why we kick them out.
That's right.
That's why they'll never come back. They'll never come back in office. They'll never come back in office. Never.
I wanted to just ask you, as you spoke about agriculture on there, I recently saw that the several millions of dollars have been spent to erect an agricultural station in the north with new technology. I know you didn't mention it when you spoke about agriculture, but can you just give us a little highlight on how that is expected to impact further on agriculture?
Well, this facility is over $10 million cost, and it's a gift from the Chinese government. This is going to help us advance agriculture in a big way, because part of it, there's several components to it. One is training, so they'll be training students and farmers alike at this facility. But the other important part of it, which I am excited about too, equally excited about, is that it will be able to generate tissue culture seedlings for us for various crops. Mm-hmm. Because once you have tissue culture seedlings, it minimizes the opportunity for pest and disease. You understand?
Yeah.
And so this is a major plus. And as a matter of fact, we're prepared to offer it to the entire OECS, a facility for training for the OECS people, and also to supply them with tissue culture plants, because we'll have the capacity to do that. So it's a major plank and component of investment in agriculture that's going to help transform, help further transform the agricultural sector in Dominica. It's a major investment and should never be underestimated or undervalued.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Dominicans people can visit the site and people can.
Well, it's completed. It is not officially handed over yet to us. There was a team that came from China to have it inspected. Mm-hmm. They have concluded their inspections. Once they provide a certificate, then they'll hand over to us officially, and then we can commence the training and commence the tissue culture activities at this facility. But this is a major center for research and development, which is a crucial part of agriculture, because you have to keep on researching on pests and diseases, on type of seedlings that you need, the quality of seedlings that you need to minimize exposure to susceptibility to pests and diseases, because pests and diseases is a major cost to farmers, a major deterrent to farmers. And if you can set this aside, then place farmers in a very powerful position of maximizing the returns on investments. Mm-hmm. So it's a major plus for agriculture in Dominica.
Prime Sir, I'm really happy that tonight you have really spent quite a bit of time with us there and touched on so many important issues. I don't know if my friend Clarence, is there anything you want to, of course, contribute to what the Prime Minister have said, or to ask the Prime Minister? He's here with us. PM social media, of course, there's quite a bit going on social media right now with regard to a lot of what you're saying. People are saying that they hope that the opposition forces are listening to what you're saying tonight, because it is, of course, you are helping people to better understand the impact and the importance of the investment that the government is making and where it's going to take Dominica.
I'm not bothered by the opposition elements in Linton's guide. I really don't bother with this. I'm speaking to sensible Dominicans. Yeah. You understand? I'm speaking to sensible. And I know Dominicans from all political spheres of the society have common sense in that, and can discern fact from fiction. You know what I'm saying? Yes. I'm not put by the machinations of the Workers' Party. They've tried this before. It's not going to work. You understand? It's not going to work. My commitment is to remain focused on the task ahead, because this world is a very difficult world. And if people don't understand how difficult that world is to navigate. And luckily for us, we have been able to cultivate some good friends in the international community who keep on looking out for us. You understand? Yes. But we're not put by them by the opposition elements. These are guys who are not interested in Dominica. That's right. Nothing in Dominica. The record will show that. And I'm saying to Dominicans that we have to remain focused on the economic development of the country. There's people who are on Facebook and out there in America and so on and talking nonsense. I don't bother these people. We listen to people's views. We have an obligation as a government to listen to divergent views. But we're not going to be distracted by people who are seeking to destroy the opportunities of Dominicans. We're not going to pay attention to that. You understand? We're not going to pay attention to that. And so let's remain focused on this. And this is, I can tell Dominicans that we shall remain focused on this. I mean, we have word, for example, that they want to block the streets, the roads, to prevent the inauguration of the Daly's Village Council. Wow. To what benefit? Besides denying you know, the Dalis farmers and the Lapland fishermen to pile the trade. And to prevent supplies from coming into the health center in Lapland, and to prevent the students from going to school or come back from school. You saw how many hundreds of students were stranded during sexy time.
Oh yes.
The children who had to take boats to go to grammar school and to convent and estimate to sit their exams. Ambulance was stuck. Visitors to Dominica who landed at Douglas Charles, Dominicans who were coming back home, had to pay money to the UWP people to go through the blockade. You saw they insulted his
bishop.
eminence.
Yeah, it was.
You know who would disrespect Cardinal Felix? Come on, a senior citizen, a man of high repute of a significant position in the Catholic Church, and you have Catholic priests who never came to condemn it. The bishop. And this is what they want to recreate.
Chaos and mayhem.
Anybody who claims to be a man of God who is supporting that can't be a man of God. These people should never allow people to pray for us. For me, I don't want these people to pray for me. Because I have enough wonderful people that pray for me. I don't want this priest and this pastor to pray for me. Not for me. Not for me. I have enough people praying for me, my friend, for these people to pray for me. So not everybody should pray for you, you know.
That's right.
People also wish you well to pray for you.
Some might be praying for something.
Thousands of people here in Dominica, millions out of Dominica, who wishing me well, wishing the government well, and I love for them to come to praying for me. But not these people. You cannot want to destroy a country because you want to get in government. That's not what it is.
Right.
You fight a government with policies, with programs, right? With projects. That's what you come to represent.
Yes.
And so let us remain focused. I can tell the country I am focused. You may not hear from me sometimes, but I am in the trenches working. I'm trying to push this project because I understand how important they are to Dominica and to overcome the challenges that we're facing in a very complex global environment.
Yes.
The reality is the world is less caring now than it was 15 and 20 years ago.
Billions have been spent on war right now.
Yeah. You know, I mean, look at the situation in Haiti. You know, that's why every opportunity I get, as you see, to speak to the global community, my main focus is on Haiti. Because we can't have a sister nation within the Caribbean community and Caribbean and not advocate for it very strongly. And I'm happy that CARICOM as a whole, as a body, itself is preoccupied if the situation in Haiti and seeking to do all that we can. You know, so we had a meeting, we convened a meeting in Guyana with the US, with Canada, the United Nations, the UK was there, France was present, you understand? And we made it very clear to all of them that they have to step up. The EU was present. That we can't always give lip service, give Haiti a good $4 million, a good $3 million there. No, Haiti needs serious help to assist it with its governance situation, the humanitarian crisis, and the security crisis. And we cannot just send police and military people in Haiti without a clear plan as to how we're going to help these people get back to normal.
Right.
So we must have a clear economic offering, financial offering to Haiti to get it out of the situation and to assure it a better future.
Indeed.
You know? Yeah. So I'm not sure, Simon, I hate to take, I told you guys I was coming for half an hour.
Can I ask you a question?
I just wanted to ask you a question before you leave PMS.
Sure, just a brief update. Where are we on the Loubier to Bagatelle Road currently?
Well, we have gone through the tender process. A recommendation was made because ultimately it is the funds are with the CDB. We have a grant from the UK, And also we have contracted a loan from the CDB because the project is more costly than the funds that we have from the UK. Okay? Because this road is going to cost us no less. And let's understand what we're dealing with as a government, my brothers and sisters. People just talk about the road and not talk about the cost of it. That road will cost us a minimum of $171 million.
Wow.
$171 million this road is going to cost us. You understand?
Yes, sir.
And so we are going through the tender process. Recommendation was made to the CDB. So we are now awaiting the final determination by the CDB on which company will be awarded the contract. Once that is done, we'll move to signing the contract, and then we'll move to mobilization. So at least we have gone through at least from what I know, I've been advised, there'll be no need to go back to tender. But we had to go back to tender about 3 times because the bids were much higher than the funds that we had. So we had to go and redesign and cut there and do this and do that, but at the same time not compromising the safety issues and the integrity of the road. And so that's important. So we await the final determination from the CDB. Once that is done, then we move ahead with commencement of construction.
Okay.
But just note the amount, comrades,
Yeah.
$161 million.
Serious work ahead of us. Well, PM, it's really 10:03. It has been a pleasure sitting here, listening to you and listening to all of what the DLP government continue to do for Dominica. As you are saying, we are not there yet. We are still in a very tender stage of our development, and it's going to take us a few more years to get there. We've not sitting on the side doing nothing, but working extremely hard and doing all that is possible to find ways and means to raise the money, because I know raising money is a serious challenge out there, and everybody is looking to see how they can develop their own turf, and you, of course, have had that challenge for a number of years and continue to make sure that while that is happening, Dominicans can get their salary, things can happen. As you said, there will always be bills to be paid, and sometimes the bills will build up a bit, but I have no doubt that, like you have done always in the past, you always seek to find a way to channel through the waters, and you will continue to do that.
You'll always have bills to pay, right? Which one of us in this country doesn't owe somebody something?
Yeah.
But you have a situation where the cost of running the country has increased dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
Only to and you have many other projects that you're financing now. Mm-hmm. So you'll have the challenges. Mm-hmm. But we are committed to honoring all the commissions that we have outstanding, and we will do so. Mm-hmm. But I'm not really put by this. This is a temporary situation, and that temporary situation will be alleviated.
Indeed.
Okay.
Very, very important.
But I took too much of your time, Simeon. Okay. I know you have more important callers to call later on.
Well, I think the most important person here tonight was you, Prime Minister. And we had a very high listenership tonight, both on social media and of course on the radios. And I'm sure Dominicans are happy to hear you tonight, happy to hear all what you have said. And it's really refreshing sitting here, just listening to you. I know you
I'll come on with you every week for half an hour.
Excellent, Prime Minister. We appreciate that once you're available.
Half an hour, not more than that. Half an hour. Every week, I'll come on with you.
Right.
You're on Tuesday and Saturday, right?
Tuesdays and Saturdays, yes.
Yeah, so either one of the days I'll come on, but I'll let you know.
As need be.
You can squeeze out half an hour for me. I'll appreciate that.
You're always open to your Prime Minister. Thank you so much.
I always like listening to you guys because Simeon, you're doing a fantastic job. We missed you on the program.
I know.
But we had some great guys holding the meals and brother Ghost and Comrade Ghost, and of course sympathies to Ghost and passing of Bollards. I ate so many of Bollards bakes. Yes. I was really sad when I could not make the funeral.
Right.
But Bollards was always nice to me as a young boy in Roseau.
Yes.
Whenever I came to buy bakes from him, always so special,
Yes.
And of course, my sympathies to the John Charles family, the passing of Vanos John Charles. A guy, when you speak about bananas, you must mention him.
Yes.
And as you know, we have taken a decision to offer an official funeral in honor of his contribution to Dominica's agricultural sector. Really wonderful person, and for me personally, I've lost a true friend and supporter.
Indeed.
And of course, we had in my own constituency, we had the sudden passing of Sergeant Acting Inspector Terry Roye, and of course, I had the occasion to extend to his family my sympathies. And of course, we had a gentleman in Penville, Dubois, who passed away as well, and so on. And of course, I had the opportunity to visit the home and to extend my sympathies to them. So let's continue to do the fight on behalf of the people of Dominica.
Indeed.
And to do what we can to continue to build Dominica. But I urge people that this is the party. Let us join forces to build Dominica. Join forces to build Dominica. While those who have no interest in your welfare and well-being, those who have no interest in Dominica, those who are only concerned about themselves and the circumstance, those who believe that they should be in charge of the political party, and because they've been kicked out, cannot accept they've been kicked out, I will do everything and try to tie the country and believe that it's about the country. This is nothing about the country. It is all about a leadership grab to get back their party. And so you have the Marigot guys pushing. Because if you look at the crowds, it's Marigot and Salisbury.
Yes. The mobilization.
Yeah, that's why it is. This is not about Dominica or anything. It's about selfishness and so on. But we are preoccupied with country's development and advancement, and this is where we focus in our efforts and our commitment.
Thank you.
Of course, Clarence, you always do a fantastic job, and I see you guys have a freshman.
Yes.
No, Caressa. And I know he's been batting very well.
He's on the wicket.
All the wonderful callers, Tony, Donnie, and Lloyd, and so many of you who call every day in defense of the patrimony of our country, in defense of the country, and promotion of what we're doing in Dominica. God bless.
God bless you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, good night. Of course, you just heard it there, my people. Political leader, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, as he, of course, presented what I would consider a comprehensive plan on how the DLP is developing this country and intend on continuing to develop Dominica. We just have to take a short break. When we come back, of course, we're gonna continue the discussion, because there is so much that was said there, and no doubt, I'm sure many of you have been locked in and you need a small break. So let's take a quick break there, and when we come back, we will continue with our discussion.
We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. They could come with propaganda, all their lies and all the slander, trying to mislead the people with their hate and all their evil. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. The best thing that happened to this country is Skerrit and the Labour Party. We wanna bring to bankruptcy. Now have a growth in the economy. Got a leader with a less vision, youthfulness and dedication. Suspect that things would be tight. Went to China on the next flight. To ban Venezuela. What a brilliant leader. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees
shall not be moved. They could come with propaganda, all their lies and the slander, try to mislead my people with their hate and evil. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. That's it. Jalala, no question. Jalala, no question. Jalala, no question. Jalala. All of them forget the current people. Labour stepping they want to cause trouble. Politically now got had no respect. Exploiting them on the water project. Superiors compared used to ball to Labour to build their seawall. Zero they would have to back it. Water tank on Labour fix it. Whether you teacher, leader, elder, must give credit to Labour. You better believe it. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. We shall not be.
Whoa. I tell you, we shall not be moved. Just like the tree planted by the water, Labour Party shall not be moved. And of course, you heard it again, as I said there, from our political leader, Prime Minister Skerrit, Clarence and Caressa. Why? I mean, you know, you talk about political parties, and you talk about a political party that understand the dynamics of Dominica, that have things well laid out. Because Dominica has been, over the years, struggling to get to a level where you'll have an international airport. I remember Honorable Vincent Desson talking about the geothermal project, that the idea of developing a geothermal was something that was done in the early stages when in 1950.
Sometime about that.
Yes, you know, it's like when they went to Parliament and passed the first geothermal act, but could not execute it. And I mean, there were several other prime ministers that came after. Such a challenging project, but the DLP, even with all of that, decided to do it. And one of the important things about a lot of the projects that is ongoing, a lot of the finances are either raised through grant or through the citizenship program. And that, Clarence, means that less debt on the population. And also, Clarence, with all of that activity, yet still, over the years, the government increased the threshold to the citizens of this country so that they could have, because I remember back in the days, you would get a $12,000, and anything after $12,000, you pay tax on it.
But Simeon, yes. I'm doing taxes for people.
Right.
And a lot of people did not know that. You have $30,000. On the first $30,000, you do not pay tax.
On your salaries?
On your salary, on the first $30,000. So if you get in $30,000, you pay no taxes.
Right.
So you can claim for $30,000. You can claim now the health insurance you pay. So if you pay health insurance, you claim that. If the insurance on your house, your house insurance, the government is giving that back to you. Your student loan, if you have a student or if you're paying a student loan for a child, the government is giving you back the interest. And if you have a second house, another mortgage, you build another house and then you're renting it, the government is giving you $15,000 or up to $15,000 of the interest on that second house back.
Wow.
All this.
Yes.
So a client came by me and tell me, well, Mr. Christian, the other day, just last week or before the carnival, I get an income tax refund. I say, what government paying, man? They get money? That was my response. I say, so, but I know a lot of people getting back. I get a tax refund and things so and so on.
Yes.
And I'm going to put it to good use because they could claim for all this because the government giving you back your insurance, your health insurance, and your insurance on your house, and so on.
Very.
I mean, so these are all, and still you have $30,000. When I joined the service,
yes,
or even when on the first $1,000, after $1,000, you're paying taxes.
Yes.
Now you have $30,000.
$30,000. Let's see if we can.
After the say $1,000, after $12,000, you're paying taxes.
You're paying taxes.
And $1,000 a month.
Right.
So after.
No, you're exempted.
So all exempted. So all this, the government is putting more money in the pocket of people.
Let's engage our followers. I mean, we have our colleagues there, and I'm sure we'll take a few calls very shortly on the telephone line as well. Of course, of persons who want to comment on what's going on here tonight. Let's see who is here first. All right. Let's see. Comrades, good evening to you. Let's see. Any one of you there? I think we have somebody on the. Yes, Donnie, you are there first? Yes, good evening.
I'm here.
Yeah, and of course, good evening. I also see our comrade there first. Donnie, are you there? You hearing us? Loud and clear?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Of course, comrade, good evening to you. Welcome. Okay, I mean, I think I was there the last time I missed you.
Good evening, my friend. Good evening. How are you, man?
I'm good, thank you. God bless you, though.
All right. Good night, Clarence. How are you doing?
Okay, man. Okay, I good. Okay,
wonderful.
Refreshed by the Prime Minister.
I promise I will not be long tonight because
you have a lot of
after this comprehensive report from the Prime Minister, there's very little, I should say. Yeah. But I really want to commend you, Simeon, you and Clarence, for being on tonight as usual and being so committed to the cause. Mm-hmm. And I want to give, kudos to the Prime Minister for his ever calm, sober leadership.
Yes.
And when we hear a leader speak like that, Simeon, mm-hmm. We know our country is in good hands.
That's right.
He offers so much hope, mm-hmm. For all of us. Mm-hmm. And this is the kind of leadership that we deserve.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you contrast that to what you hear on the other side every single day, who is always something about a make-we, and always to denigrate, mm-hmm. and always to try to bring down somebody, and always to try to bring down the country. We can be very proud of ourselves that we have made, and we still do make the right choice as to elect this man as our Prime Minister, elect the Labour Party as our government, and to ensure that these guys never come back in power.
That's right.
All right? Because these guys are very bad news for the country.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I want to tell the Prime Minister, I heard him say that these guys, Randy Rodney and these guys, he don't want their prayers. Well, you should know that they don't pray to the God that we pray. Because when they pray for people who they do not like, they pray for their destruction. Yes. And so much so that when a past evangelist Peter R. Augustine prayed for the Prime Minister, Randy Rodney got angry.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. He called him a sycophant.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. He was
these people are not of God.
Mm-hmm.
They are not of God. These guys are bent on destruction. These guys have an axe to grind, right? These guys are bitter and angry because they believe that they have been deprived of something that they had on the Workers' Party,
mm-hmm.
right? Their ties and their alliances,
mm-hmm.
Made them benefit, right? But what this government has done is ensure that everybody benefits. Even the poorest of the poorest benefits. Even the poorest family's mother child has a chance to be educated and become somebody worthy of in our society. All right?
Right.
So these guys are all about personal gain,
mm-hmm.
personal interest, and not looking at the big picture and completely ignoring the transformation that has taken place in this country selfishly.
Yes.
Selfishly. That has taken place in this country since this government and since this Prime Minister has been in power.
That's right.
All right?
That's right.
Everybody has had an opportunity to excel, to thrive, right? It's Dominicans have to put their foot down. They have to pull up their socks. They have to go to work. They have to be committed. They have to be disciplined. And if they do that, my friends, they can achieve whatever they want to achieve.
That's right, baby.
All right. So That's all I want to say tonight, Simeon. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, man.
For being on the program. I'm happy to have you back.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best of health.
Thank you.
And to continue seeing you on the program. And Clarence is an Iron Man, Teflon done.
Yes,
I must commend Clarence. Clarence taking a lot of bullets, but he stands there as a real soldier.
Solid as a rock.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother Donny. Thank you, of course, for being with you there. I see your council. Good evening.
I see good night.
What were you, my comrade?
I was lining up behind Vivid Red Stubat. No, I think I have to join the chorus. You guys have done a fantastic job tonight.
Yes.
I think the Prime Minister was outstanding. That's what the lawyer would call a complete knockout.
Mm-hmm.
He gave the fundamentals. But let me put it straight. He has given a fundamentally important description of what's happening.
Yes.
It fully and totally undermines what the opposition have been saying. And I was particularly happy with the way he dealt. But I'm not even sure if to say he dealt with it, but sort of minimize what it is that the opposition is trying to do. And he was focused on presenting the complete picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he did an excellent job doing that. And I share his view that all of these threats and violence and Munsi war and so going to the director of audit offices and so on is all part of an instigation or an incitement to restore leadership to the Marigot gang.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Prime Minister's assessment is absolutely correct. Absolutely correct, because there is no rational basis for what's being said.
Mm-hmm.
The allegations are false. You heard the Prime Minister's clear explanation about the so-called missing billions. Early in the show, you played the clip when Linton was saying billions were spent on housing.
Yes.
But I think that's besides the point. I think what we got tonight from the Prime Minister was outstanding leadership, statements like politics, somebody who is dealing with the central issues, and he left the free and his scandal mongering and the rumor mongering for others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the contrast. And in his statement to us, he was saying that we didn't do nothing. We have done a lot. And in fact, I want to emphasize that what Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit and his cabinet has been able to do was on 2 occasions resurrect Dominica from their social economic death.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With Erica, Maria, and then COVID, but that's 3, but the 2 hurricanes, the storm and the hurricane. And you heard him speak of the massive savings that were being set aside for the international airport and to pay the national debt.
Yeah.
Had to be used to reconstruct the country and to resurrect the country after these 2 massive devastations and scenes of destruction in the country.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I am very confident tonight that those who have listened to this program understand where the facts are and where the fiction is.
I know.
And I think he has without directly doing it ridiculed and rubbished the idea that there is any resemblance of a factual basis for the allegations that were being made and to justify the what they do nothing. But let me tell you what I am concerned about. It's a little deviation.
Mm-hmm.
I am concerned that the persons like Bujo and others in Munsiwo or Siwe, whatever you call it, that decided to leave their homes and the parts of the residences and march all the way to intimidate the director of audit with this fictional BS about missing billion. And I think despite all that we have said over the last few weeks, there are some that are hell-bent on mischief, hell-bent on destruction, hell-bent on violence, and that we have to be absolutely ready to deal with that. But I am happy with the Prime Minister's presence today. He has made it clear that there is no basis, no factual basis to the allegations that is being used to fuel this so-called do nothing there. So, gentlemen, I'm not going to stay long either. I have other things to do tonight, unfortunately.
Yes, Senior.
But I just thank you all for doing what you have to do.
Thank you too.
And keep the ball rolling.
Indeed.
Darren, see you later. See you later.
All right.
Simeon, let me say something there. Tony said something. Let me just dwell on it a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead, Clarence.
There are 21 staff in the audit department, 2 men and 19 women. And there are 2 staff from the audit, 2 member staff on the audit from the audit department of the country, Latvia, on loan to Dominica by Intosai. Intosai is so all of them, so 2 foreigners, 2 white people in the audit department. And those guys take the time now, that is the time to go and intimidate basically a women staff. Where you have 2 foreigners.
Yes, sir.
That is thing that has been in play for a long time since I was there. We're trying to get the assistant to really make the audit department international, right? So that you can, because we follow Intosai rules and so on. So we have 2 staff members of the Latvia audit department assisting us in Dominica. And then you have those guys going there and asking for and intimidating, making noise, start frightening and things, so whatever they're going to do. Yeah. I think the police have to deal with that.
Yeah,
I think that has to be dealt with.
And it means that security, you definitely need to have serious security in all of these places, because you never know what they can do. I mean, that's an example of how some people can take matters into their own hands, especially when being influenced by people with the attitude of
because they are being influenced by a lie of 6 or 9 million or 6.4 billion.
Well, they keep changing the numbers all the time.
They keep changing the billion. Yeah. And this is what happened on February 7th, 2017. Yeah. Where business places were destroyed on a lie. So Lennox Linton, whose brain has never developed more past the age of 13 years, cannot know you cannot multiply, does not know you cannot multiply 0 by another number to get another number except 0.
The Clarence.
And I will keep on, I keep on repeating that.
This is a man who didn't know his profession at a very, very, after being on God's earth for so many years, he had to ask, when they asked him what was his profession, he asked to explain, when somebody asks what's your profession, you know what's your profession? You know, a carpenter, mason, or whatever, doctor, and this or something. The man didn't know what they're talking about when they ask him about profession, because has not been engaged in these kind of things. All right, let's see who else is there for us as we go there. Anybody else on the line there? Are you there for us? Good evening on the line there. Let's see who's there. Do we have anyone of our comrades there? We're going to open up the telephone lines. Lloydie, I see you there. Good evening, my brother. What's up?
Good evening, Simo. Once again, it's just so delightful to hear your voice. Good evening to Clarence.
Yeah, good evening to comrade. Let me ask you before you start. Did you get this stuff for me?
Yes, you're in good hands.
So it's on its way.
Yeah, you're in good hands. I'll call you after.
Okay, then cool, good. Thank you.
Yes. You heard the Prime Minister. Yeah, I was saying you heard the Prime Minister.
Simo, yes, I want to be real quick. I see the time is running up, and I'm so happy, Simo and Clarence, that you had PM on tonight to give a comprehensive and detailed information as to what's going on and where we are. You know, we people hear it from us all the time. They hear Clarence, they hear Hugh, they hear Ron and others, Senior Counsel Donny, Senior Minister and others. We've been on the air all the time talking about what's going on. But when you hear it from PM itself, it just adds more to value to what we were saying. In other words, it confirmed what we're saying all the time. And I want to thank the PM for coming on and having, spending the time that he spent tonight to speak about the current affairs of the country. But quickly, Simeon, I want to condemn, as what Clarence said a while ago, in terms of the people who stormed the auditor office or who came there and trying to invoke violence in the country, and it's based on a lie. Yeah. These guys have not been forthcoming with the truth. They hear Lennox Clinton talking about a money that is missing, that is somewhere in an account that somebody have, the prime minister, somebody have, and they use that now as a basis to try to see how they can terrorize people. Can you imagine that? But we have to continue to condemn this. As Clarence said, the law has to do what it has to do, the law enforcement officers. And our country has to be a peaceful country, because we have seen and heard the current development that's taking place in the country. And we can't afford to let a few people, Simeon, just blindside that, just stop the hands of motion from moving.
That's right.
And so it's important that what we're doing is important. We have to continue. And again, I want to say the country is on an upward trajectory. It's on the right path. Yes, we have our little pitfalls here and here, like everything else. Everything is not perfect. But when you compare us to a lot of our neighboring islands and countries in the world, we are doing exceptionally well. Taking into consideration, Simeon, the inflation.
Yes.
The inflation has gone on around the world, the wars that is causing a lot of goods and services to be very expensive. Yet still we are on the track and the trajectory that we have always set to have. And the mandate that was given to the Prime Minister to run the country and to effect continuous change in the socio-economic structure of the country and the well-being of it. So, Simeon, I don't want to say long. I don't want to, as they said, the Prime Minister was so, his deliveries tonight was so well put together and well delivered. I don't want to add too much to it. I just want to tell us, let's continue to support good policies. Let's continue to support the government as we develop our country, as we go into the future, not for our generation alone, but for generations to come. Thank you, my dear friend.
Thank you.
I'll be listening.
Thank you so much, Lloydie, again, for your contribution there. Yes, my brother Carissa, I mean, yes, it's definitely, I delivery by
the thing about it is, I think all our callers are basically saying the same thing. And I just pull up something from the IMF. That is a statement in 2023, Article 4 mission. And it reads, the economic outlook is positive. And that's the IMF, eh?
Yes.
Talking about Dominica.
The economic outlook is positive, predicated on a full recovery in tourism in the near term, implementation of the public investment plans, and prudent, take note of that word, and prudent fiscal management. Growth is expected to stay above 4.5% in 2023-2024. And they're talking about Dominica. Now, now some people are talking about we have an economic crisis in the country. The IMF is saying to us that we are expecting growth of over 4.5%. And when I look at the figures, Simeon, and I really wanted us, maybe at the next program, we can get into it a little bit. When you look at the figure, had it not been for Erica in 2015, where we had growth of negative 2.7, had it not been for Maria in 2017, where we experienced growth of minus 6.6%, had it not been for COVID-19 in 2020, where we dropped minus 16.6%, Dominica would be enjoying an average growth of 4.8%. And that average would be higher than what we have seen 1990 to 1994, which was 2.06%. That average would have been higher than what we saw in 1995, 1999, which was 2.7%. That average is above the world's average, and that average is also above the average of Latin America and the Caribbean. And that is Dominica we are talking about.
Yes.
And the people are trying to give us the impression that things are so bad here.
Yeah.
And yet everybody else, except the opposition, is the things are going in the right direction.
But even
Professor
agriculture,
Clarence, I want to just let the listeners know that I want to open up the line because I want to hear from the folks who are listening, and of course you can call on 4487-338. Let's get some input from the listeners. We have somebody on the line there, so let's take this call at one time. Caller, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
After listening to PM, thanks for coming. I'm a caller from Bells.
Yes.
After listening to PM tonight, I am reconsidering. It's not that they don't want us to work, but I think they're saying that PM need a rest. Him and the other parliamentarians and his supporters.
You working too hard then?
Of course. He is working plenty too hard.
Yes.
So I think that is what they wanted to say, but we misunderstand them, that we need a rest day. Yes. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Of course, feel free to give us a call. The line are open to the listeners. Of course, I know the telephones are going already, Clarence. Let's just hear from the listeners a bit. Caller, good evening to you.
Good evening again.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening.
Well, I cannot say nothing because I have already greeted my PM earlier on.
Yes, you did.
And his family.
Yes, you
and
did.
the ministers. So right now I have to just talk about the novice.
Yes. Well, I want you to just be brief because we want to take quite a few calls before we leave tonight. So be brief on what you heard from the Prime Minister. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, don't start to stress out, mommy.
No, I'm not stressing. I'm just giving you the direction of the program.
All I have to say tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Didn't Linton call himself a working process?
A working process? Yes, he did.
Didn't he call himself a novice to Julius in St. Kitts, St. Lucia?
He did so as well.
He
Yes.
said he's a novice?
He's a novice too, yes.
Well, I am saying to that novice, he will leave my Prime Minister alone with all his $7 billion. Because I always say, whatever he talking about money, my Prime Minister spending the money wisely in this country. He give the full details here tonight, and I don't see why the novice want to have people not going to work. When I look at him on the program Sunday, oh my goodness, I will talk about that now. But I say to Linton, I say to Matt Peltier, I say to the long gun, the sticky finger, and the group with him, they are all set and bride, and they will not get rid of my Prime Minister. Right. My Prime Minister is blessed. He was sent by God the Almighty, creator of the universe. He was chosen to be the leader of this country. And he has been doing a fantastic job. We are not the only one who facing crises in Dominica. When I have to listen to CNN and the Caribbean country and listening to the amount of debt they have, it's not compared to our country. So my Prime Minister is working tirelessly. He and his cabinet, some of them, the good ones, the genuine ones. So they can say what they want. The Lord give him wisdom. And he never thought he would be the Prime Minister to take care of Dominica. He had the whole of Dominica on his shoulders. UWP, Papi Pachi, and all the others who is coming. He's the Prime Minister of everyone. Like it or not, he is their Prime Minister. And they have to go by the rules. They cannot disrespect the Prime Minister. And that guy who went in the treasury, he has to be arrested. Okay, because we want peace and unity in this land.
Indeed.
We don't want war. We don't have war. We have got an army. What are they looking for? They want, are they going out on Monday for 2 and saying Dominicans do not go to work? No work? Well, I'm saying to my government, if there is anyone in the government work that did not go to work on Monday, do not pay them. Make a thing of them, fire them. Because we have no problem in Dominica for them not to go to work. if they send no false paper from doctors, even doctors will fire into. So they better behave themselves.
Thank you,
We
ma'am.
don't want war.
Thank you.
I am an old woman. I want peace. I want to be happy
Indeed.
until I die.
That's right.
I don't want to have my mind crying for war and fire in Dominica. The young people, get all your act together. Do not follow these fellas that want to drain you all. Be careful. And Linton, you're novice. And you and your Ku Klux Klan cannot stop the progress in Dominica. And you better behave yourself.
Thank you, Mommy.
Have a
Thank
blessed
you.
night.
Have a blessed night yourself. Thank you. Well
God
said. Bless you too. Bless you too. All right. Yeah, of course, we're taking your calls. I'm going to get your comments. We've been listening to Dr. Skerrit there for at least an hour and 45 minutes here tonight. Caller, good evening to you on the local line.
Hey, Simeon, good night.
Good night to you, sir.
How are you?
I am not too bad. God bless. Yes.
Clarence, good night. How are you?
Hey, cool, man. How are you doing? Where are you? You here or you?
No. I'm moving tomorrow. It's a pity I will not be there on Monday for me to see the destruction of the man of Leonard Clinton and UWP and Edison James. It is written in the word, in the Bible, but tell unto Joshua, go and conquer this land that I have given to you. Go and conquer it, and wherever your foot shall tread upon, you shall conquer. Who are they? You see, some of us in Dominica, we are too wicked. And all our mind is set on evil and to destroy one man without no reason. What is in the mind of those people that want to destroy the Prime Minister? And when I see those people that want to destroy Roosevelt Skerrit, destroy progress, backing like dogs that want bones to it day and night, they're backing from January to December and they're not going nowhere. And when I look at the main culprits that are behind this, it's people that the Prime Minister put food in their mouth. Because you have a man, a retired man, Mr. Edison James, my brother. You about 80 years, you pass the time that God gives you to live. You getting a salary from this state that you don't deserve. The man not even taking the money. When last time Clarence, you and Simeon and those who are there, and you, Mr. Caressa, you read from Marigot, you hear that Edison James set up a fund for Edison James to give that one scholarship. You're getting 7,000.
That was Leonard Clinton.
Edison James.
No.
Edison talking about Edison James.
Oh, Edison James. Oh, okay,
okay. Talking about Edison James.
Okay. Go ahead.
The man getting $7,000 every month. Instead, the man take the money and say, let me set up a fund, man, to give a scholarship or to give, to help the hospital, buy something for the hospital. You're taking that same money that the Prime Minister giving you every month by his heart and his grace. He said, hey, let me do something for you. Instead, you take the money and try to do good of it. You take in the money and try to destroy the Prime Minister, even Leonard Clinton. Let me tell you that, Mr. Clarence, I myself is one man. I stand firm.
Yes.
And when I say something is this, my brother, I'm asking the Prime Minister, I heard him tonight, you have the power. You have the will. You cannot have a man that is just like a crab. The same hands that you're feeding him with, taking the hands and bite you. Repeal that act. Go to Parliament, repeal the act because it's not serving you good. And if the Prime Minister don't want to repeal the act, that the money Edison James getting and he's taking it to destroy the country, he will not enjoy it. And when Kokom say that, when Claudius later say that those who doesn't want to hear it, my brother, all you will have to smell it, you will not enjoy it because that is pure wickedness.
Yes,
Instead, Edison James, take that money every month and do something good. Edison James helping Leonard Clinton and take that money to see if we can destroy the same that giving you the money.
Thank you.
We should have a heart, my brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Yes, all right there. Great. Of course, he made a great point there. I wish I would have heard Edison James donate one of those salaries there for it. Call a good evening to you on the local line there. Good evening.
Good night, Simeon.
Yes, hello, yes, welcome.
Welcome back, man.
Yes.
Carissa.
Hi, good night.
Yes, this is Ronnie Carissa. How are you doing, my Mr. Christian?
Yeah, good night, Ronnie. That's Ronnie with the boss.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right, Ronnie from
Ronnie from Marigot. Yeah, okay.
Yes, Carissa, good night, my friend.
Good night, my brother.
I want to ask you a small question. Carissa, what is the development plan for around Menzinol, going towards the airport for the tourism industry and small business? I have a small business and I want to establish a branch up there. I think the former chairman of Marigot, which was Mr. Abraham Brenker, they had a plan drawn out for after you leave the fisheries, like what is set up on Point Michelle Boulevard, something like that, to go across Menzinol for small boutiques like beauty salon, whatever, bar for that area. I wonder what is the plan for that area. And I really appreciate your move, Carissa. I mean, we know each other from way back. Them days I used to come down at my event shop. You used to bring me down. You was in politics as yet. And I really want to congratulate people like Dayton Baptist. He's still keeping up. Some humanity woke up there after the big stuff last year when you had all this flood. He do a marvelous work in his chains of removing the trees in the road and helping to clear the landslide. I myself get some assistance from him by unblocking my bridge getting to my home, because I live in an area that every time the river passes, it passes inside of my house in Dam. Carissa, you know the area there.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the plan for that area? I would really want all you especially to bring an idea to that area there, because it's a very unique area. And I heard the Prime Minister tonight speak on some matters, but one of the things I would like to tell the Prime Minister, we need to set up a food security industry and set up small business on a broader level, because I'm a small business person and some people benefiting from the funds in the bank, but people like me not benefiting. And I have some products on the business shelf in Roosevelt, like the supermarket and the drugstores. Miss Joseph is a small business person inside of there. I think she's a minister. I think more is supposed to be done. I was in tourism. I worked in tourism for some years. I used to serve the cruise people.
Be brief for us, because we run out of time and I want to take a few other calls. So
I just want to ask a few questions.
Yes.
I do respect that opinion. Good night.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too, man. Thank you, man. Yes, of course, Carissa. I guess he asked you a long sum there. We'll have to deal with some of those things there in the future programs. We want to try and give the callers a few times. You talk about the development of Marigot. There's so much to talk about. But if we want to open up the lines again, we have another. Of course, it's already 10:49, just so it's 11 o'clock. Can you imagine that? The time runs so fast. But Carissa, in brief, I mean, anything you want to just say to the guy?
Thank you. Last week, Wednesday, the very same question that he's asking. Last week, Wednesday, we had a consultation at the Northeast Comprehensive, where we basically distilled this entire thing as to what are some of the opportunities that are available, especially as it relates to the new airport coming on stream. And the first thing we spoke about is the number of assets that we have in the area that can be developed. What are some of the assets that we can put to productive use? Our rivers, the land that is available there to develop Airbnb and all the other things, restaurants and everything else. And the other thing too, quickly, because I mean, we really cannot delve into it much. We have a Marigot Tourism Committee in place that is doing a tremendous job in terms of educating people as to what are some of the things they can do in preparation for the coming of the international airport. But of course, we can delve into it a little deeper when we have a little more time.
Definitely. Okay. That will form part of our discussion as we move forward. Caller, good evening to you on the local line there. Caller, good evening.
Well, Simeon, good evening to Simeon, good evening to Mr. Carissa, great man, and good evening to Mr. Christian. Good evening to Rivanica.
Good evening, Rivanica.
Yes, brother.
Wait in the world, but going back just one. Well, you're joking, man. Simeon, boy, is a great man, you know, Simeon. You know he's a great man. Let me tell you something. You have overtime tonight.
I'm going to 11 o'clock tonight.
Working, Bobo. Why is the man working?
That's right.
You know what I really realize, really and truly?
Tell me.
Brother Carissa can tell you better.
Yes.
Edison and top up one day party back. You don't realize that?
Of course.
You
That's
see on
clear.
Facebook what Mr. Thompson say on Facebook?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Them man one day party back. But as I say, that's why I tell you, I'm saying again, Simeon. Every one of us in Rivernica, out of Rivernica, have a responsibility, Rasta, to build our country and build our people. Any boy that crying in our country right now, it's people are wicked and bad, man, you know, when you watch it well.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's people that never doing nothing. Because when you're sick and you're helping yourself, you're going to die, you know, Rasta.
Of course.
You know that?
Of course.
You have to help yourself. You go to the hospital, doctor tell you, well, use 2 pills every 2 hours. You taking no pills at all. Pana, you're going to die.
Right.
Get it straight.
Right.
So if you don't do work, you're going to die, and you have it right. The great doctor, what did the great doctor say? He was in the organization, what did he say?
Yeah.
Lazy people cannot eat. Let's get it right. Top up. Me tell something I no top up on them. I know Rasta man.
Yes,
me might tell you person no top up so well that me myself as a human being.
Yes.
I can never vote for top up. Top up was a manager on Mao, right? Of the whatever the factory that down here.
DCP, yes, DCP.
DCP, right?
Yes.
And top up was living goodwill. Ask me how many people top up give job in goodwill, Rasta. Top up never for nobody. Get it straight. Top up and them have millions of dollars owing and they have to pay it back. They want back on their money. Tell the whole like that. These guys want their money back.
Yes,
and they'll do anything in their mind to get their money. But Simeon, they can't get money because top up have no work to do. Simeon, our country is always our time to shine.
Yes, sir.
We fly in living colors. Nobody cares. Don't be fair and say one thing with young people. Young people is what happening all your life. Take all your education serious.
True.
Respect all yourself.
That's right.
Keep away from drugs and violence.
True.
Love all your family. Love all your parents. Keep away from bad company. Love life.
Yeah,
Simeon, this is a great country.
Yeah,
now is our time to shine. We flying in living colors. Them man don't have no credit left.
Yes,
Up and
sir.
running.
Yes, sir.
Fireman running. Give thanks for my best. Whole person waiting for you to come back just now.
Thanks, Fireman, for your as usual, your fiery contribution always to the program and to the discussion. And yes, the doctor did diagnose the UWP. I mean, I have no doubt that when the doctor looked at UWP, he saw a party that basically, needed that kind of, they need to go through some kind of rehab, Obviously, they are lacking the basic understanding of hard work.
I continue to be astonished by this irony. A party that calls itself workers, it is dominated by people who refuse to work.
Again, they call themselves workers. Hear that?
I continue to be astonished by this irony. A party that calls itself workers, it is dominated by people who refuse to work.
Yes, I mean, and that's a doctor, a qualified doctor, Mr. Madam.
So he diagnosed them.
And them man, you know them doctors already. When you fall sick or you have a problem, you go to them. And then they will throw you through the examination process. And then they will tell you what is happening to you. Well, in this case, the good doctor did this very examination process on UWP. And no doubt, they call themselves workers, but they are dominated. And you can see why they want to stay at their home.
I believe in hard work. The good book promotes hard work. It says that if any would not work, he shall not eat. This means to me that a lazy man should be allowed to starve. If one does not make personal progress by doing hard work, I cannot conceive how we can positively change the circumstances of the 70,000 of us on island and so many more thousands in the diaspora.
And that is vital, Clarence, what the good doctor is saying there, because my friend, I mean, I don't think I could diagnose the UWP as good as the doctor.
Because he was at the top.
Because the doctor was deputy leader. Yeah. I mean, the man was in the business. So he was right in the boyo, when you inside, he had I didn't have the inside privilege like he had. He had all of the inside privilege to know what was going on inside of them. And when he tell you that, you have to take the word of the doctor. Now, Lexington, as he said, these guys have no way of leading a population of 70,000 people. They can't even lead the UWP. I mean, think of the UWP. The UWP have been going through chaos and chaos and chaos and chaos. You have one time Hillary for telling you, Linton, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, is not suitable for leader. Waste of time. That is all they refer to Lennox Linton. The same man that I hear them trying to praise recently there. Waste of time. Lennox Linton don't care about people. I have to remind you, this is a man during Maria, a friend of mine went to climb his roof, to cover the roof, to protect his Linton's family while Linton, you heard the Prime Minister tell us, while he was negotiating for Dominica, Lennox Linton was outside.
In Polisario.
Outside telling people about negative things about Dominica, writing to the World Bank. While Linton was busy doing that, there was a good citizen in Kenfield going to Linton's residence to try to help, to save maybe his furniture or some of what he have in his house, to help to cover the house. The man fell off the roof. Fell off the roof, you know. Lennox Linton don't care about people. To this day, Linton doesn't visit the man. He don't even care whether the man, although so the man have complication because of that fall. But he don't care. We must never forget what the lady from Mao told us when Linton jammed the child in Mao. He never turned back and come in the hospital to show no care. No sense of care at all it is. Imagine that. You know, and a fella was doing some work in his yard, you know, with his excavator. The fella tell me is a favor he doing Linton. He break down there. Linton never watch him in the yard to ask him what happened to him. So I can tell you this man don't care about people. They all they care about Clarence is about their pocket, their wallet. When they were in power, they understand what it was like to make deals with diplomatic passport. They believe everybody doing the very thing that they were doing. They understand what it was like to make all kind of contracts like what, you know, they left public works with, the Deca construction agreement, all of the things they did. They knew what it was like in a recent time to control money, have it directly under his control, as Clarence has explained. So they are desperate to come back in. Not to help people, but I have no doubt Clarence it is to help themselves. Your closing remarks as well.
As you said, Edison James had a CBI program under his direct control. He and Edward Alexander signing the check.
There you go.
And he just making the thing so.
There you go.
And the records are there. Woolsey wrote several letters complaining to Edison James that this is not right. This is not reading. But he had what can you see around Dominica with the escrow account that Edison James was operating?
Nothing
around Dominica. Anyway, we'll be getting there. Let me say it was a good program. Basically, all what we may see on Monday is UWPD, the Marigot faction of the United Workers' Party, trying to block the road. Probably they will rope in some persons from Salisbury, block roads, and to prevent people from going to work. That is the only way they can get people to support them, is by blocking roads, violence, creating violence. That is the way anybody can get people to. They do not have support. We saw it on Sunday, Simeon. About 800 people came to their rally. We are a place where you could get easily 8,000 where people voted for you. Only about 800 people came to their rally.
Well, so, I must say when I watched that rally, there was a lot of senior people.
And senior people.
And some of them look like they retire already. They don't work in.
Senior.
I mean, people. I see. The young people not following them, certainly. Carissa, your closing remarks, bro.
Well, I think we had a very good night tonight. We heard it from our political leader. Very instructive and very calm, collective. That's what you call a leader. Of course, as it relates to the missing money, we know that's a joke. We have to take it as a joke. I mean, the IMF doesn't see it. CDB doesn't see it. European Union doesn't see it. The World Bank doesn't see it. The only person that's seen it is a few people from the United Workers' Party.
No, Lennox Linton.
Mr. Linton.
Well, led by Lennox Linton.
He's the only one seeing it.
He's the only person that's seeing the $6.4 or $5 or so billion. On the other thing I want to say quickly is that the question of nothing happening, we have all economic data from the IMF, from the World Bank that says to us, yes, things are happening to the extent where we have economic growth higher than the world average, economic growth higher than Latin America and the Caribbean average, economic growth that we have never seen in the history of Dominica from 1990 to 2024. And that to me is very important. So Simeon, it's another lovely night tonight, and we want to really thank all our listeners and those who called in, Senior Counsel Doddy, and the others who really call in and to keep this program alive.
All right, I want to thank you. I'm going to give this caller, yes, caller, you are a very lucky caller. I'm giving you a chance here before we wrap up. Yes, talk to us.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, Roosevelt.
Yes.
Yeah, the other thing again, if them clones here, if the World Bank come and say things bad in our economy, but every time the World Bank come and say things better and things getting better, they angry. If you fashy. So them kind of people there, as everybody's saying, they do like to work and they'll try and do all kinds of things for people not work. But only thing I support in Kokom when he say, we'll demonstrate for people to cut that money, them clones they're getting. Because it don't make any sense that people get joint money they're working for. And they still want to tell people don't want to work. Exactly. I tell all Dominican, come out and work hard as all you can.
Yeah.
And wear a red on Monday. Because them clones, they're too foolish. The kind of title they had in Roosevelt, and they play, they had so much people. They fool themselves.
They haven't seen the power of Labour Party.
Keep on fooling themselves every day.
Yes, I. Thank you, brother.
And have a good night.
All right, thank you. Good night there. Of course, our Clarissa and Terence, thank you again. And let me say a special thank you to our political leader, Prime Minister Skerrit, for really joining us here tonight. He has promised that he will make the effort to join us occasionally, even as, to give us some insight on how we are progressing. I want to thank him for that. Thank you to many people who joined us tonight and on social media. I noticed that social media was very active tonight. I had 1,335 comments. Within the little time we have been here tonight, tells me that you all were engaging quite a bit. I know that the opposition members were there with us. They got the message too. They heard the message. They heard all what the Prime Minister had to say with regard to the missing money. They also heard Lennox Linton, I'm sure, telling the people of Dominica where the same money he looking for is. In other words, you know where it is. And you can remember Lennox Linton telling us about money, things that properties that belong to the Prime Minister. Then when they go, you say he had ironclad evidence. When they go in the court now and they charge the guys and them in the court, Linton was nowhere to be seen to help them for the court because Linton led them to follow him and they took up his battle. Everything he has come with, every allegation he has come with has been either proven to be false and they can never substantiate any of the claims that they are bringing before the Dominican public. It's always in his mind. It's always in his head. His lawyer once told the court, the judge indicated by president, that his client went to bed and got up in the morning and had something in his mind. And then he said what he had in his mind. But what he had in his mind was nothing of factual. It was just in his mind. So I want to thank the Prime Minister for really, really delivering in the way that he did tonight. I believe that there's a lot of food for thought, a lot of hope. He has recreated what I consider to be the vision for Dominica tonight in our minds, and we can see the practical things happening on the ground across Dominica. Just like those in the Europe we can see, we in the Labour Party can also see. Let's all be patient because good things comes to those who wait, and you have to wait and be patient for it. The roads are coming in Cassie Bruce. The roads are coming in the Kainago territory. Yes, you suffer in a little bit because good things come in. But when the good thing will come, you will never remember the dust you was getting because you'll be so happy to drive on the nice road. So Clarence and the many listeners, the Facebook fans, the folks who listen at home, we want to thank you all. It's already 4 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock and we want to say thank you to you for listening. And of course, the program Next Level will be live again on Tuesday night. So please tune in as the discussion continues on Dominica's development. I'm sure that all of Dominica will be going to work.
Oh, yes.
Because nobody wants to sit down and have no money when Edison ain't going to share his salary with all you. And Linton not going and share his pension with all you. Because them fellas that doesn't share their thing. As the fellas say, if Edison was really a nice man as I think he should be, knowing that he getting that $7,000 every month, a state vehicle he gets in, he should tell Linton, don't go and talk about people's salary that working hard on platform because I get in a freeness there. If he was kind, he would have take part of that freeness and donate it at least. Let me Edison give the $7,000 to the children, a school, a needy family. Somebody Edison, donate some of that, man, before we protest for the government to take it back from you. Good night, people. It's always a pleasure. We had to go. I leave you with our favorite tune. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Yes, I. Good night. God bless you.